Hello and welcome to Health Bar Half Full, the podcast that makes you feel good about liking games. The Game Awards happened. Not the Game Awards, the Game Awards. They happened, and we're going to talk about it. And that's pretty much all we're going to do today because there was a lot there. But before we do that, of course, I need to introduce my co-host slash YouTube megastar friend, Mr. Adam McDermott of Platinum Journey fame. Adam, how you doing?
I'm well. This past weekend, I had to travel to a different side of the country to visit my family on my dad's side. So I got to stay in an Irish village for a night.
Ooh.
Everybody knew everybody. The village itself only has 4 bars, and after 3 years of going, I've finally seen all 4 bars.
Oh man, that's interesting because I live in a very small town and there's way more than 4 bars.
It's okay, define small.
700-ish people.
Okay, we're only at that 300.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So then probably proportionately it's about the same. You know what? A lot of the bars have been discontinued in favor of vape shops, weirdly enough. That's kind of what's taken over. How's your Irish village in terms of its vape shop situation?
0.
Okay.
Although the village used to have 7 bars. For 300 people, that means there's a bar for every 28 people?
Right, but do you think about how many people can fit in a bar, and if every single one of those people, men, women, and children, need to enter those bars, you need enough bars to accommodate those people. That's how we operate here in this small town. So
if everybody was to go out at the same time, you need space.
Which is when everybody goes out at the exact same time at the witching hour, the drinking hour that they call it. It doesn't matter how old you are or what state you're in. It's legally required to begin drinking. You got to have a space for it. So it makes sense to me. But for here, it's either churches, bars, vape shops, or fireworks stores. Those are the places that's our big business here. If you want to come out to my village, because it's legal here, it's legal here, and it is not legal in New York. And New York is a stone's throw away from this location. So a lot of people from New York say, like, we're going to go to Pennsylvania and load up on fireworks and then drive back to New York and set them off illegally. That's America.
So smuggling.
Yes. So you got to see your friends and family and meet up with them?
Yep.
How was that? How are they doing?
It was nice. We normally stop off in one aunt's place and have their side of the family be there, and then an uncle's place and other members' family there. Then down around the town for a few pints. Learned that just because a bar's closed looking doesn't mean there aren't about 12 people inside drinking till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, they're going to ride that until they kick them out. Yeah, why not?
When we were walking around it, I was like, oh, this place is closed. And my cousin was going like, no, just open the door. And you open it and there's, whoa, okay. I even got to, I'm a big fan of pour my own pint of Guinness if possible. So I said to the bartender, like, any chance I could pour that one? And they go like, oh, I can pour the Guinness if you wouldn't mind.
Did you go behind the counter to do it?
Yeah. Let me behind the counter to actually do it properly, yeah, and like top it up and stuff. I'm like, woohoo!
All right.
As far as they're concerned, it was just less work.
Well, that's fantastic. And now I'm going to use that as a bridge into my story, which is far less interesting. I ordered Arby's for an online pickup order, and I went in there 10 minutes after it was supposed to be ready, and it wasn't ready, but I saw it sitting in the kitchen. And I'm sitting there like, I could just what are they going to, what are they going to do? I'm going to walk back there and grab my Arby's because the lady was not happy with my presence. I'm like, hey, I was very polite. At least I tried to be, because, customer service people making very little money, I'm usually pretty forgiving of how they are. So I was very polite to them, like, hey, I ordered this online and it said it was for this time and I'm here now to pick it up. Can I get an update on it? She was very upset that I was there. She's like, okay, I don't know what to tell you. Interesting.
You're like, but that thing over there, put it in a bag.
Could you just move that to the location where I can grab it, where it is socially appropriate for me to grab it? Yeah, they didn't. And then finally they did it. they looked at me and said, "Are you Henry?" I'm like, "No." What's your name? I'm Randy. I'm like, "What's your last name?" I'm like, "There can't be enough Randys for me to have to specify, but I will for you because you asked." And I did, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's right here. I got it." And then they just moved it to where I could grab it. I'm like, great. I sat here for 10 minutes trying, like thinking to myself, like I paid for this. Like I could go get it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not theft if you already paid.
exactly. So that's my life update in the past 2 weeks. I've done nothing else. I just went to Arby's once. That's the unemployed lifestyle right there.
Yeah, the whole week. Were you looking for new jobs, or you going? Nah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna survive.
I've thrown some applications in there. I've got connections now, so like I'm trying to feel those out and see if they've got anything for me. But the industry is rough, as anyone listening to this podcast, I'm sure, is aware that it's rough. If anyone watched the Game Awards, they were told that it was rough because they actually mentioned how rough it was in the Game Awards, which was a big deal. And I think that's a great opportunity to segue into the Game Awards. The Game
Damn, sounds
Awards.
like you're a pro.
I'm not. I wish I was. In fact, I'm so not a pro that I meant to do something else before we talked to that, and I forgot. So now I'm ruining my own segue, but I'm going to do it anyway. You're watching me evolve into a content creator, like the shy, introverted, small town kid trying to be a content creator, uh, in an effective way. I appreciated when people listened and commented, and it actually made me feel really good. And there were some meaningful comments that I changed my perspective at least, and I think it added to the conversation in a fun way. So, if you're listening to this and you hear something that you want to weigh in on, please do. That made my day. People commenting on the video, and you're gonna subscribe and like if you feel like it anyway. So I'm not gonna tell you to do that, but definitely if you want to contribute to the conversation, I'm in fact going to when we get meaningful comments, I'm going to implement them in the show, probably near the end or where they're relevant. So please continue to do that. And now,
Before we go any further, though,
oh yeah,
folks might have noticed something visually different and perhaps something audio different on my end.
oh yes, we Adam went from a amazing camera to a still pretty good but slightly less amazing camera, different
Yeah.
camera angle. He's got the mic arm. He's basically trying to come down to my level to make me look a lot better, and I really appreciate that from him because he's a very
Yeah.
nice
But
person.
then on your end,
Yeah,
you no longer look like a goblin.
yeah. So I turned the light on. It's a good start. Um, yeah,
And the
there.
green glow that was around you the
So
last time
there
was
was
gone
a
from the neon
neon
sign.
sign behind me with my name on it, and my intention was to keep the light off so you could see the neon sign. But then I couldn't even crop it in such a way that the neon sign showed up, so I just looked green and dark, and it looked like I was trying to get a toll from you to cross a bridge. It was dark stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully this all looks better. Give us feedback if this offends you in some way. And one more final show note. We are on most major podcast platforms at this point. So if you go whatever you listen to your podcasts on, unless it is an Apple based one, our show is probably on it. And here's why I can't get the Apple one yet. It's coming. But I tried to log into my Apple account and I didn't know my password. And they said, like, okay, log on to your Apple device to change your password. And I don't have an Apple device. So I said, I don't have an Apple device. They're like, okay, go to your nearest Apple store. And I said, I don't have an Apple store near me. And they're like, okay, we're going to send you an email or phone call on December 22nd, I think, at a very specific down to the second time where you need to sit there and wait for it. And then we will walk you through the change password process. So this was weeks
Sounds
after I submitted my change password request.
It's very easy. I don't know why you couldn't do it. It's so straightforward
It
and
is
not inconvenient at all.
user error, right? Because Apple only
Yeah.
makes perfection. So if I couldn't figure it out, then it's on me. Yeah, definitely. But that's
Do you ever see
coming.
some of these? Do you ever see some of these strange videos? It might be an American thing that there's a bit of an elitism when it comes to Apple and Android.
Oh,
As
yeah.
in, if you don't have an Apple, people like you're less than, which is so strange because globally, it's like I don't know anyone who has an Apple phone.
Yeah, it's definitely a brand thing, right? And that's by design. It's marketing. They want you to feel that way. Apple wants you to feel that way. Oh, you're missing out if you're not spending too much money on a closed ecosystem.
You didn't spend $2,000 on a
All
phone.
right,
What an idiot.
I did not. I definitely did not. A couple $100 is about where I'm going to top off on a phone. I'm not a big phone person,
That's
so
what I do. I would do with the Androids thing is like, okay, what came out 3 years ago? I'll
yep.
get that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I did very similar, and the only time I don't is if there's like a deal where it's like, oh, you can get the new one for next to nothing because
Yeah.
we're gonna do that. Yeah. So that's coming. Like I hope to get it on your Apple-based podcast platform of choice, but it's gonna be a little bit until that happens. But most of the like Spotify, I use Pocket Cast. That's on there. So like if you've got a podcast platform, search for Health Bar Half Full, and your show should pop up. Anyway, to the Game Awards. We're going to go to it. And I wanted to start off before we talked about the Game Awards 2024. I want to talk about the Game Awards as a whole. How does that sound?
Sure.
Just in
Come
concept
a long way.
because we are it's come a long way, and I feel like every time I feel good about, and this is the podcast about making you feel good about things, when I feel good about the Game Awards, I instantly go on and read the temperature of the Game Awards by everybody else, and I feel less good about it. And
That's a terrible idea.
it
I
is a bad
for
idea.
as a quick side, I thought the trailer for the dog game was fine.
Yeah, I
Turns
thought
out
it was good too.
I'm definitely wrong because
You are. You are for feeling good about something, yes. And that's kind of my
I
point
love
is
you.
that, listen, I think the Game Awards should be criticized, and I think there is definitely some justifiable criticism. Uh, Even with the most recent one, I think there's stuff you can pick apart if you want. But if we're talking about, as far as I'm concerned, what they did and what they try to do, I think it comes from a genuine place, and they are trying to give you this show in a system that requires them to make as much money as humanly possible while also making you feel good about it. And that's just a really challenging thing to do. But I will say that we don't really have something along the lines of the Game Awards anymore outside of the Game Awards. We don't have something that everyone in the community is just collectively focused on and celebrating and talking about and all of that stuff. And I think with that, no matter what you think about the Game Awards, that is something that is valuable, that the Game Awards and I guess subsequently the Summer Games Fest as well. We don't
So
get
are
to
you
talk.
talking about comparing it to kind of the Oscars is in decline and the Grammys? Do people even watch those?
I don't know.
Whereas
I
the
have no
Game Awards
idea.
seems to be keep growing and growing in strength, and now gets more views than those.
It gets more views and 100 some odd million people watching this thing, right? That's crazy. And we're
Mm.
all watching it and we're all sharing that experience and we're talking about that experience. That's how cool is that something can bring that many people with that common of an interest together to talk about it. And I think that's something to be celebrated. It itself it feels like a celebration. And yes, they cram you full of ads, but although this year arguably less so, I didn't get
I
that
think so
feeling
less so.
nearly as much. Um, and it's more of a showcase of what's coming than it is the awards. But again, if they're trying to get people to watch, one, that's the way to do it. Hey, you're going to learn about stuff you didn't know before. Two, that also pays the bills, so they can actually put on a pretty decent sized show like that, right? So in terms
Also,
of
the
the
ads are quite, we're getting ads about video games.
yeah, we're getting relevant ads now. In in terms of putting on this kind of show, when with my opinion a genuine intent, like I really do think they believe in it, in the confines of the system that you must get as much money as humanly possible while continuing to grow the audience. I don't know how you do any better than this, especially this past show. Like I really thought they nailed it.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's my defense about the Game Awards. All right. So let's talk about the Game Awards 2024. And by the way, if you agree disagree with the sentiment, my sentiment about the Game Awards, please let me know because again, I really enjoyed having the discussion with people.
Also, do you ever look at the historical numbers for the Game Awards and
No.
how it's grown so much? There was one year it was doing about 6 million, and then it was like 16, and then 25, and
Yeah.
then 70, and you go, "Geez, what were you doing?"
It's appointment viewing now, right? People
Mhm.
say that like, oh, the video games don't really have their Oscars. I'm like, oh, how do you not see this as that? I have criticisms about especially the awards part of it, but people going up on stage accepting awards were in tears. Like, because
Yeah, they're quite happy.
this is the most prestigious, the most people are looking at it. If you so think about, I'm kind of burying the lead here a little bit, but Astrobot won Game of the Year, and they went up on stage. 100 million people or whatever
Mhm.
saw Astrobot win Game of the Year. How cool! Like, if I worked on a game, and then 100 million people saw that game was the best game of the year, I
Yeah,
would be like so overjoyed with emotions. Like,
yeah. I
how is
think
that not
also, sales of all the Game of the Year nominees went up in the past week.
right? Like, and I don't know. I'm just trying. There's harm. I'm sure there's harm. Like, obviously there's a cost to everything, but I think the Game Awards are a net positive on the community and the industry as a whole. And I wish we kind of focused more on that. And to do that, let's talk about the stuff that we were excited about at the Game Awards. Maybe starting with the announcements, and then
Sure.
after that we can talk about the awards. Adam, I have a really exhaustive list of everything that was announced at the Game Awards, and
We are not
we
doing
are
that.
no, we are not going to talk about everything. But since you don't have eyeballs on it, I'm going to name them, and if you don't have an opinion, we can move on.
How many announcements? What was it, like 600?
Oh no, it's like I don't know, maybe 30.
Okay, we can go through them that way.
I'm
Any possible.
this is really rough math, but it's not over 100. I promise you. Uh,
Okay.
uh, so Ninja Gaiden Ragebound was announced.
Huh?
There's a new Ninja Gaiden game that was announced. It's a 2D side scroller.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Looks cool, and it's from the makers of Blasphemous. If you're familiar with
I've heard of
Blasphemous,
Blasphemous, yeah.
Blasphemous is cool. I'm pretty happy that exists. I have varying degrees of enjoyment of the Ninja Gaiden franchise, so I'm glad that exists. Um,
I still have fond memories of playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma back on the PS3.
oh
It
yeah,
was so beautiful looking and so bloody hard, getting
I
my ass kicked.
I beat that game. I did do it.
Yeah, well, don't rub it in.
Did you not? Are there
No.
trophies for it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because I have a proposal for you.
I think
What you do
nowadays
is you
there
get the
are.
Xbox version, and then you no.
Hang on, let me actually double check. There might be. If there are, that'd be kind
I
of
would
sometimes there's games which like Okami has been on my list for many years. It's like I need like that sort of push. Like if I make an episode, I'll finally actually finish the game. And much like Ninja Gaiden, if I make an episode, I'll finally finish the game.
right.
Let me check if Ninja Gaiden
Speaking of
Sigma has
Okami,
trophies.
that is on this list as well.
Oh yeah, very happy about that. Ninja Gaiden Sigma trophies. It's got to be really difficult. Oh, there are. Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. You heard it here first. Announcement. When you advertise this podcast, Adam, you got to say like, oh, plus I'm announcing a new platinum.
I don't know, Randy. I'm looking up here a 9 out of 10 difficulty, 3 playthroughs, and 90 hours of bashing your head against a wall.
I didn't make the rules, Adam. Uh, 90 hours. What? No, to get the platinum?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. What's your longest platinum off the top of your head? You know?
Elden Ring at
Okay.
90 hours.
So you then it's there's precedent for this. You got this.
That's easier.
That's easier. All right.
I would say so. At Elden Ring, you can run around and level up. I think in that one, it's kind of level based. You just got to
Oh yeah, no,
get
you
good.
got to get good. Get good.
Yeah. That's the
Yes.
original Get Good game.
Well, anyway, you can get good in 2025, summer 2025, when Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is released, or it might get delayed because that happens a lot too. Yeah, let's talk about Okami since you mentioned it. A new Okami with Hideki Kamiya, right? That's his name, right? I'm missing it on this list here, but that is something that exists. Okami.
Yeah. He's, it's so nice that I can't believe he's back.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
Now get my boy Shinji Mikami back on Resident Evil, and we're all good. Right?
Mm.
If we can just make that happen, because he left Grasshopper, not Grasshopper. What's the name of that company that was recently closed, that made that game where it's a rhythm based hack and slash game, which name is also that I'm Hi-Fi Rush. Who made Hi-Fi Rush? What was the company that made Hi-Fi Rush? Oh, everyone's yelling at me. That's
I don't
okay.
know. It was received pretty well. I didn't actually play it myself.
Yeah, well, it was really well done, and that company was closed down, but I guess part of it was purchased by another company. Either way, so Okami, I don't have any experience with Okami at all, but it is cool that that's happening. I know a lot of people like that game. Adam, you said that you may or may not go back to the old
Yeah.
one.
I've played through. I played through it on PS2. Well, I say played through. I got to there's a point where I finished the first act, which I thought was the whole game.
What
Yeah.
was it
It
long?
seemed like a very like befitting ending. I thought I had done. Turns out I'm 1/3 into the game, or even I don't know what. There's about another 20 hours to go,
Yeah,
but I'd already played 15, which I thought was a befitting end. Turns out I would only scratch the surface.
it's
So I always get to that point and then I stop,
it is
feeling
gorgeous.
satisfied.
It still
But
to this day is very beautiful. I
mhm.
really there's a few versions of that game. I don't know what version I'd want to play. And also I don't know if you remember this, but that when they released the Wii version, they did a bad Photoshop job on it, and the IGN logo is on the cover of the Wii version of Okami,
Nice.
which is pretty good. And that's the thing. So that's Okami. That's cool. I really like the idea that someone's coming back to their franchise. Like that's very neat, especially after they left the company. And it seems like they've reconciled, and it's all good there. That's really cool. uh Okami, who knows when that's coming out? No one knows. We're going back to the top of the list here, and this is in order unless the conversation takes us away into a different direction, but this is in order of the announcements. One Move Away is a cozy first-person puzzle narrative game by Rampage Games, coming 2025. I don't remember what this is. So,
Nope,
all right,
me neither.
moving. Not apologies to that. I'm sure it's a very wonderful game, but I truly don't remember. uh, if it's your favorite thing, we will go back and check it out. Slay the Spire 2. Adam, do you know what Slay the Spire is?
Nope.
Okay, Slay the Spire is a really cool collectible card game. But in so like it kind of reignited the collectible card like dungeon battle crawler thing, or at least made it more popular. And since then, there have been some really cool ones that have come out and iterated on that. Monster Train, especially, is one of my favorites. And I'm wondering now what happens when they go back to Slay the Spire now that other games have come out and iterated on what Slay the Spire 1 did. Uh, so, curious what that's going to look like early access in 2025. Dave the Diver in the Jungle DLC. Are you a Dave the Diver person?
No.
It is wildly popular. I have not played Dave the Diver, so unfortunately, we're going to have to move on. So apologies to Dave, Mr. Diver. We will have to check you out later.
I'm not.
We
I
well,
get, you
if
can't
someone
stop
if
promising to go back and check them out. I'm not.
I don't know
This is-
if yeah, I mean, I'm saying it to be nice, Adam. Don't.
I know, but
if
time is limited.
Yeah, that's true.
We
But
can we
I
only
do feel
choose.
bad. People worked hard on it, and I don't.
Of
It's tough to
course.
dismiss it, but we can't like and see everything, unfortunately.
Like I didn't even buy Grand Theft Auto 5, So
So these descriptions for what these things are is not they're not great, because the next one here, Thick as Thieves, which is a player versus environment multiplayer stealth game. But the noteworthy part is that it's the next game from Warren Spector, who made
oh, that's cool.
Deus Ex, and that's his biggest claim to fame. So I'm going to say Deus Ex, and that's not in this description. But because his name is attached to this, I'm more interested.
Of
Right.
course, yeah.
So, and it has a cool early 1900s look and stuff to it. And I'm curious how like a stealth multiplayer game works. I know games have tried to do it before, but it's to varying degrees of success. One of the Assassin's Creeds, in fact, a couple Assassin's Creeds had had
Was it
multiplayer.
Unity?
I think Unity had it. I think Brotherhood had it as
Mm,
well as maybe Revelations. That would make sense to me. But
it can be a nice idea.
all right, so that's cool. That Thick as Thieves coming to PS5 specific. It's I don't know if it's only PS5, but it specifies PS5, and it's in 2026, which is a time that might as well not exist in my life. That's in a lifetime away. Um, yeah, Shadow Labyrinth. Now that sounds like the most generic name on the planet, but Pac-Man is in this game. It is a Metroidvania with Pac-Man as like an evil monster.
He's finally found his true role.
Yes, I mean Pac-Man has done a lot. We don't talk about him much because he's kind of a has-been, but he was a big deal. And then he like spun off and done his side projects, and now I think he's in his like, okay, I'm trying to get a career. He's like Michael Keaton. He's trying to get back into the limelight with some more serious adult roles.
So
He
this might be his Birdman.
yes, exactly. This is Birdman for Pac-Man. This is Bird Pac-Man. Pac
I
Birdman,
wish him well.
Birdman Pac-Man. Yes. That looks neat. It would be pretty generic Metroidvania looking if it didn't have Pac-Man in it. So do with that with what you will, but I think that's a cool twist. So that's coming in 2025 allegedly, called Shadow Labyrinth. Something called Steel Paws. It says mobile game next to it, which is probably why I don't remember what this is. Do you know what that is?
Oh, I watched the Game Awards on a 1 hour, 1.5 hour delay,
Yeah,
so
so did
I was
I.
able to get past.
So did I, and but I did. I also watched it on a delay, but I did not skip past specifically for the podcast purposes, and I don't remember what this is. So unfortunately, we have to move on. I'm sure you're a wonderful game, and Adam called me out on it. I will likely not look at it. It's a mobile Netflix game. I
Um,
can't do it.
There's being nice, then just making empty promises.
Yes, you're right. There's lying to people, and I don't want to do that. I mean, I did when I said it out loud the first time. I intended it, and then I regretted it. So I guess I'll do it for the first two since I said I would. But moving forward, no. Tales of the Shire, which is a farming game starring the Lord of the Rings creatures. Uh,
I wish them well.
yeah, I wish them well as well. I did read the Lord of the Rings books, and I found them incredibly boring. Uh,
Wait. Why? Why do you hate literature?
I don't hate literature. I have a degree in literature. However, uh, I found so I really liked The Hobbit, and I liked the first because it's technically all one story, the three Lord of the Rings books. And
Hmm.
if I liked the first Lord of the Rings book for the most part, and I did not like the latter two, but at that point it was sunk cost. I'm like, I can't put this. I'm so deep in now. I have to finish this. But I found the the Two Towers and Return of the King books pretty boring.
I'm in an almost identical situation with probably the most famous book ever written in from my home city of Limerick in Ireland. It's called Angela's Ashes,
Okay.
which chronicles the life of people who lived in the city. So many of the children die, and it's so depressive. And it's written from the perspective of a child, so the language is quite simple.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm reading it and my vocabulary is getting any better. I'm becoming more intelligent. I'm becoming more childlike in my own writing. So it's 500 pages. I'm
Okay.
250 in, and much like that sunk cost fallacy, I go, oh, I should just keep going.
Could you imagine if you just dropped it right now with that much
I
time you spent it? It's
can't.
tough, right? That's exactly what
I
happens to
can't.
me where I get deep into these, and I feel like the books do it on purpose. They're like, we're going to put all our interesting stuff in the beginning, so you have to see it through.
Their hook is the first 100
Yes,
pages. Only
exactly.
that.
I just read Stephen King's It because I needed something spooky for the holidays. And by that I mean Halloween, not the holidays. Yeah, I needed something spooky for Christmas. No, it was Halloween time,
Also,
and I read through Stephen King's It, and it's over. It's like 1,100 pages.
yeah. Also, doesn't it have some very odd scenes with the children?
How did I? How am I the only person that didn't know that? I got to that scene, which is within the last 100 pages, for the record. So
So you saved
I went
the good
1,000
stuff.
pages, not knowing this is going to happen. I don't want to spoil it or even say it out loud. Is to if you look it up, there's definitely some questionable things towards the end of Stephen King's It that if you're curious what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
To the point when you're reading the scene, you start to go like, "Wait, how old are these people again?" And
well,
then like she's like, "Wait, what
not
age?"
only that, I'm like, why? No one talks about the context, like the content, whatever. Yeah, it's it's probably going to bother some people, but I'm sitting there thinking like, boy, I'm not sure why they would do this. Like, I don't understand the advantage they think they're getting out of doing this. And it clearly it feels forced. It doesn't feel like it's a major part of the story. It's very weird. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, similar deal where I'm like halfway through that book and I'm like, it's losing me, but I'm here. I'm here now. So
Yep.
yeah, so that's Tales of the Shire for you. We've talked 0% about the game, but if you're interested, it's a farming game coming out March 25th, 2025 for Nintendo Switch, Steam, PS5, and the Xbox consoles. Which, according to the ads that we will see later in the event, everything is an Xbox. So you own an Xbox. It doesn't matter what it is. So maybe it'll be on that. Probably not. But who knows? Oh boy. Stallcraft X Operations.
Mm, my favorite.
Yeah, that was what you were looking forward to the most. I'm glad you
Yep.
got what you were asking for. And
This was it. I know new Naughty Dog game. Uh, this one,
yeah, I mean,
I'm
you're not a
hyped.
big Naughty Dog fan to begin with, so like it was nice that it was there, but I know, you know, so
Yeah.
it was definitely Stallcraft X Operations that you
I
were
saw
holding
that.
out
My
for.
eyes bulged. My tongue rolled out of my mouth.
I'm surprised it happened so early because I'm sitting there thinking like,
Yeah.
they put it on the pre-show. I'm like, man, this is how you close it. Who cares about Game of the Year?
This.
But we are being very mean to this game. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It, like,
Also, I didn't watch the pre-show.
yeah, I did, and so there you go. Yeah,
The show's already 3 hours long, Randy. Why are you watching the pre-show as well?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm a masochist. Is that the one where you like? Is that self harm or is it this?
Yeah,
I always mix those
that's
two.
when you like pain.
Yeah, because the other one is bad, right? Or
Easily confused with massage therapist.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a line that can be drawn between the two. I get it.
Both can involve pain.
Yeah. Have you been to a massage therapist?
I was too afraid.
It hurts.
No, no, I was in Thailand, buddy. I was too afraid in case they did other
Yeah,
things.
like hostile things.
Yeah, it's just like let's say like, oh, massage, and like regular massage would be fine, but they might see white fella come in and be like, okay, I guess what the flong wants, the flong gets. Like, no,
Yes,
no, no, no.
that's
I'd be the person
stereotyping.
show up. Yeah, I'd keep on my shorts and my t-shirt, and I'd be like, don't touch my bare skin.
There you go. Uh, I went to a massage therapist once, and I was completely in the buff. No clothes.
I couldn't chance that in Thailand.
Yeah, well, this was a white man touching my body, so I felt
That's what I need.
yes, you need a white strong man to rub out your knots.
Is that what you call it over there? Is it?
Oh yeah, and I can't think of a better way than to move on from Stallcraft X operations than saying big white man rubbing out your knots.
Hmm.
It's apparently an expansive MMO FPS set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, and it's coming in 2025. Watch out for it; it's coming. Midnight Murder Club. Don't know what it is. It says multiplayer FPS horror game. Man, did I watch the pre-show? I did. I don't remember any of these things.
This is what I'm kind of baffled by. I
Right.
didn't watch, so I have an excuse. You're just rattling off stuff and like, what?
Yeah, let's hit the gas a little bit. Midnight Murder Club multiplayer FPS horror game. PS5, Steam, early access, February 2025. Kyora, a multiplayer sandbox from Pugstorm and Chucklefish. And it's survival crafting coming soon. Solasta 2. This is like Dungeons and Dragons, but a game. It's like They did Solasta 1 was like Baldur's Gate 3 without the Baldur's Gateness of it, which means it wasn't as good, but it wasn't bad either. And then Baldur's Gate 3 came out and it rocked everyone's world, and now it looks like they're making another Solasta, so maybe the world is ready for
The world
Solasta.
is ready for more Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that is coming to early access in 2025, and apparently a free
You
demo
watched
is coming
the
soon.
Have you watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Yeah, it was fun, a good time.
I couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was,
this
it
would
was
be so stupid,
and I was
but I like
worried.
Chris Pine.
I heard it was funny, so I was worried like, oh, this is going to be Marvel funny, and I'm not interested in that. And it was actually funny. Not that
Yeah,
Marvel is not funny sometimes, but you know what I'm talking about. Like it can get a little rough in places for me. So
yeah.
I had a
It's
good
one of those
time.
movies I stopped after about 20 minutes and went, "All right, I'm making some
Yeah,
popcorn.
I was
This is
gonna say
actually
like
good."
I'm enjoying myself. I need to enjoy myself more. I need all of the endorphins coming into me at
Yeah,
once.
get some chocolates, get some
Yeah. Yes.
popcorn. We're good.
You let your guard
Get some
down. You're
full
like,
sugar.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, I trust you now, movie. Like you can have
yeah.
me.
Time for some full sugar Coca Cola. Let's go for it.
Full sugar Coca Cola. I haven't had one of those in a
I
long
know.
time. So yeah, Coke Zero is where it's at. They figured it out as far as I'm concerned. All right, man. I've never heard of this one. Witcher 4. Not familiar.
Do they mean witches or do they mean witchcraft? I don't. What's that word?
I'm not sure what Witcher. That's not a word. Maybe there's a
No,
typo, but there's apparently four of them.
four. That's
Allegedly.
astounding.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess those people. Moving on. Kidding. Witcher
Yeah.
4. Holy mackerel! I didn't see that coming. That was cool.
I, as a way to open the show, it's pretty strong.
Yeah. I mean, it showed nothing, but what do you need to know other than it's more Witcher and it stars Siri? What else do you need to know?
Yeah,
It's
this
like,
thing is in
sign me up.
their big, 6 minute long cinematic trailer. I'm like, you could have made it 30 seconds and just like flash Siri,
You could have shown
sorry,
Siri. Yeah.
and then Witcher 4 title. I'm like, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm good. All right. Here's my money.
This whole
It's
cinematic
really,
trailer you spent probably
oh,
6 months on,
and tens of
not
millions
needed.
of dollars, right? Like that.
Not needed.
No.
Nope, not needed.
But I had a good time watching it, I will say. That was fun.
To be honest, I I know they've done cinematic trailers before and people like them. I personally don't like cinematic trailers.
I don't like them for information purposes, but as soon as I saw it was a cinematic trailer, I'm like, okay, I'll just. No, I did what you did with Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, I'm just gonna let my guard down and let it sweep me, see what happens. And I had
Yeah.
a good time watching it.
But I see the cinematic trailer and then I kind of makes me sad about the Witcher TV show. I'm almost wondering why don't you just do it animated? It might have been better.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. That's
Yeah.
true of most things, actually. Like I feel like there's definitely things you can do in animation that you can't in live action. That yeah. But anyway, and it was good Witcher like vibes where she went and did the thing and came back and the town did something messed up like that. That's
Yeah.
uh, like yes, give it to me. The
Yeah.
the Witcher did something cool, came back, the town sucks, and you got experience. And the lady goes yeah because you got experience.
Yeah. It's nice.
I'm ready
What
to
you
go.
make of the change in voice actor?
Um, I thought she did a good job, and it wasn't different enough that it was distracting. I did notice it, but I'm wondering there what happened. Like, was the previous actress not like who
So I've
knows?
heard rumblings that I think they've said the first voice actress is still in the game, but I don't know. So I don't know what
Well,
was.
there could be speculating here. I have no information. It could be that there's a difference between being a playable character and being like a side character that you interact with a lot. And I think maybe that was not within the actress's skill set or maybe desire. Because like you gotta like there's all the combat barks and stuff like that that you have to do that you wouldn't have to do otherwise.
Yeah, maybe it didn't have the time commitment.
Yeah,
It's a massive script, or maybe they might have when you start the game, you're playing a Siri in her early 20s, and in the trailer she looks like probably mid to late 30s, or
yeah,
who knows, The
yeah.
Witcher. She could be like 50,
I
and maybe they
remember.
wanted someone older sounding.
Yeah, that could be. I remember Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, rest in peace. He interviewed about voicing for Arkham Asylum, the game, and he was talking about like, yeah, I thought this was going to be like just a walk in the park. I've done Batman for 20 years. Like this will be nothing. And he goes in there and is like, it was the hardest job I've ever had to do because like, I had to just go like, ugh, all the time. And
Yeah.
the amount of times, like it was a huge strain on his voice. And if I could see actors saying like, I don't necessarily want to be that for a game that's
Mhm.
going to take 100 hours. Like if people have to play this character for 100 hours and I have to provide enough voices for that to be meaningful, maybe I don't want to do that. All
Yeah,
speculation here.
they might have other projects as well where it's like, okay, how many months? Okay, I need to put 2 months free here, and then I'm going to go away for 6 months, and then come back again for another month, and then be gone for 6 months, and come back again for another month. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, who
definitely.
knows?
But as you said, they could have just put a logo up there and said like, "Hey,
Yeah,
you play as Siri."
yeah,
Here's the thing: they didn't have to show anything. They could just release The Witcher 4, and I will buy it.
yeah.
They don't have
They're
to
at a
tell me.
point. Yeah, I'm
I
sure they've
love.
got some sort of analytics in the background. They're doing the big cinematic trailer was worth it. I know. I don't think they needed it personally.
Yeah, I don't know if you sit me down on a certain, depending on my mood, I could tell you that's in the running for one of my favorites, Witcher 3. So yeah, Witcher 4. Stay tuned for that. You ain't getting that for a long time.
Yep.
I
Your
would
kids will be going through
Yeah,
college when they finally
2027
play.
or later, I guarantee it. There's no way you're seeing that next year or after. Elden Ring Night Reign. So they started the show with Witcher 4 and then a new Elden Ring, which is
And
not.
this one is most certainly eligible without fail for Game of the Year, as it is
Well,
standalone.
I don't know. It's more of a live service game, free to play. I could see if it. I don't know if it's free to play or not. It probably isn't. However, uh, this does seem to be a departure, and I think it's funny that one of the first things we talked about on this brand new podcast was that they didn't intend to create an Elden Ring sequel, and then they more or less created an Elden Ring. I know it's not a direct one-to-one sequel, but it's a new standalone Elden Ring product. Like you misled people.
Yeah, I don't think they're putting the A team on this one.
Yeah, that's probably, and maybe that's where if you hold it up in court, that's where they get away with it, right? Where like, oh well, technically, they didn't make an Elden Ring sequel.
It feels like they've been, I know folks at who were messing around with the combat. I went, what if we had 3 players together?
Yeah, and there was a lobby, and you could sell them armor,
Yeah, who
and
knows
there
what
were
was going on
season
in the
passes.
background, but I don't know,
Um,
even if there was any of that sort of stuff. But I think you can either play it yourself or you can play it with 2 other friends, but you can't play it kind of just one and with like 2. It has to be 3. So either you and 2 AIs or you and 2 friends or 2
oh,
strangers.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely curious. I still have plenty of regular Elden Ring to play, so it's not like I'm hungry for it. But I think it's cool that this exists. I would be, I've always I've spent a long time, especially since having my youngest son, not being able to play games with other people, and that's starting to become less of a thing. I can start playing with other people again. So this
Yep.
is a fairly decent timing. I could see myself getting a posse and saying like, "Let's go take down Gurglosh the Smasher."
Yeah. I did notice some new abilities. I think there was kind of a grapple with a
Yeah.
chain, similar to you have in God of War. That was cool.
Or Monster Hunter has one. Isn't that a Monster Hunter thing too?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's cool. But look for that in 2025. There's going to be That's just coming out in 2025. That's Elden Ring Night Reign coming out. It's no early access from what I can tell. Just straight up new box product. There you go. Have fun. Uh, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for PC. Does this matter to you? It doesn't. It can't.
I have, how do I put this? I'm waiting for them to finish it.
A lot of people are,
For,
I think. And
yeah.
here's what I'm going to say to you. You should, because holy moly, does Final Fantasy VII Rebirth suffer because it is a middle chapter. It's
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find it.
And then it's a case of like, did you stick the landing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know a lot of people don't like Mass Effect 3. I do, but a lot of people don't. And they really liked Mass Effect 1 and 2, so who knows. That's I would have waited if I had known. I would
Mm,
have preferred to play it on PC. I am it's This did not take long enough. It was less than a year. I didn't expect it to be
Yeah.
this fast, so I bought it,
So
thinking
yeah,
that
I'm up once they're finally finished. There'll be a kind of a Final Fantasy VII complete, and you just
oh
have
yeah,
all three games.
oh
It
yeah,
is
I'm
just
not.
going to be free, right?
Yes, well, allegedly,
Okay.
but yes, I'm not falling for this again. Like I'm waiting. When
Did you
PlayStation 6,
genuinely? No, did you genuinely not know when they started the first one that it was only the first few chapters, whatever?
I knew. Yeah, I knew.
But you still went into it.
Yeah,
Why?
because I stories can leave off and still feel satisfying, and I think I think Final Fantasy VII Remake does. Like there is an arc in that game. There's less of an arc in Rebirth. So I
Mm.
was more or less very impressed with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I really like that thing. Uh,
Okay.
so I'm sitting there thinking like, well, I have no reason to believe that Rebirth is going to be lesser. And
Mm.
on paper, it's not. There's way more to it. But to me, I think it suffers for that reason, actually, as well as some narrative choices that I would not have made. But
Okay.
still a pretty good game. I had a good time with it. If I had known my experience with it, I would have waited. Yeah. If I had known what Rebirth was going to do to me, I may have waited to play Remake.
Yeah.
If I was clairvoyant, I could say like, Randy, you're not going to like Rebirth that much. I would say like, okay, I'll hold on to this until all three of them are out, and then I'll just play them all at once and grade them as they are as a complete package. But that's Final Fantasy VII
Okay.
Rebirth on PC coming January 23rd, 2025. Look out for it if you've been waiting. Uh, I don't know what this is. Catly, a cat open world game. I don't know how I don't remember this.
I don't like cats and I don't like dogs.
Uh, I'm neutral on cats. I do like dogs. Um, I don't like cats enough to be excited about them being playable. And
I
I don't remember this at all.
yeah, I saw a cat game. I was like, the only cat game I'm interested in is Stray because that setting.
Yeah, which is cat game. It feels secondary that it's a cat game. It's more of like
Yeah,
a science fiction adventure game.
yeah.
But this just based on this description alone, because I don't remember this at all, doesn't seem like there's a setting other than existing in life. Play as a cat in the world that exists that you're aware of. Yeah. So that's Catly. No date. Coming to Steam, Switch, and Apple Store. And if you need to log into your Apple account, you will not be able to play that until you reach out to support. Untitled project from Fumito Ueda, which from the Shadow of the Colossus guy. That looked cool.
How did you not know this?
How did I not know what?
Took you a second for
Yeah, it
some.
did take me a second.
It's a rather unique
It
name,
is a
and you
unique
see
name,
that.
but I don't actually. To be fair, I don't recall seeing his name at all. I just remember him as being the Shadow of the Colossus guy. I don't remember
Oh,
really thinking about his name
and Eco.
and Eco and The Last Guardian, which I have not played.
I
Uh
didn't like Last Guardian.
oh yeah, take that, Ueda.
Yeah, that was a big disappointment for me. Well, I don't like pets, and that one just have a big pet, and I go away.
It's not a cat or a dog.
It's a dog-like feathered creature. I
It's
didn't
a
like
dog bird.
it. Yeah, I'm like
Yeah,
go away. But I really enjoyed Eco and
I'm
Shadow
learning a lot
Colossus
about
for
you.
sure.
I feel like we haven't talked that much in the middle years where we didn't podcast together, but I feel like I got a good sense of who you are. I'm learning a lot about this pet thing, though. This is new. This is a new layer.
This has been around for a while. Now I'm just a bit more vocal
Yeah,
about it
yeah.
because one too many
It's
bad experiences. Even Randy, like 2 nights ago, I'm out for a walk around the block, and someone's got their sort of their the dog looks like it might have been in the tundras of Siberia. It's one of those wolf-looking dogs.
yeah. Huskies.
And I'm going, oh, brilliant. And it was like a little dainty woman holding it. I was like, that dog, if that dog wants to go, it's going to go. You're not
Right.
stopping it.
So let me
And
propose something to you. Maybe people are to blame.
oh, most certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I'm coming towards like if this dog and as I'm passing by, sure enough, the dog is trying to jump up on top of me, and the woman's trying to pull it back, and I have to go out into the road to go around it. I'm like, this is a foot. Ah, yeah, bad owners for sure. But then I've also had the experience of meeting stray dogs, and they're very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
So dogs with humans, bad
Eh.
humans. Dogs without humans, bad dogs.
Yeah. There's something to be said about that. I've got a good story about. So my wife loves finding animals in the wild. I've got so many stories about them, but I'm going to stick to one right now. And we were walking by, and we were walking over this narrow bridge where we pretty much you have to stick to one side, or you're going to bump into somebody. And we were walking by, and someone was walking their dog across the bridge, and my wife's like, "Oh, here's my moment. I get to go pet a dog. I'm so
Oh,
excited." And we're walking by, and the guy sees us, and he's like, "Oh no!" Like, he's terrified, and he holds down to the dog. He's like, "Go, go! I got him. Just go. Don't make eye contact. Just go, go." And my wife's like, "Oh, yeah." It's like this dog wants to rip her face off. It's like, "Oh man, he's got your scent. Don't go home. Don't go home. You're in trouble now." Oh yeah,
yeah. So why would that person ever bring the dog to places where there are humans?
because people, right?
Yeah,
This isn't a
bad
people
owners.
positivity podcast. This is a video game
No.
positivity podcast.
I'm always reminded that scene in, the IT crowd.
I have not seen the IT crowd.
So it's in the very first episode, and one of the characters just goes, "People, what a bunch of bastards."
Okay, so that exact line has been brought up to me, I want to say twice within the past month, and now I apparently need to watch that show.
It's really good. It's made by the same guy who made Father Ted.
I'm not familiar with that either. So, yeah. Anyway, if you like pets, you would like The Last Guardian, maybe. If you don't, you probably won't. However, I don't think there was any pets in this
Yeah, this
new
new game looks
Awata
more like
game.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Well, with like mechs and space, it looked way more ambitious than what they normally make, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm in.
yeah, I'm also in. That looked really cool. No date on that because that's probably a billion years away,
Yeah,
and
I
there's no
just
name
got
for
this.
it either. If you think I'm ignoring the name, there isn't one.
Yeah,
So
that I wouldn't be surprised if we get The Witcher 4 before that.
yeah, here's something that I want to revisit the original, The Outer Worlds 2. I kind of want to check out the original again. I played a
Oh,
little bit of it and I really liked it.
I finished it.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
thought it
time.
was excellent.
I got pulled away and I just never fell back into it, but I need to go back to it
Yeah,
again because that was a lot of fun.
yeah.
I thought.
I'd say after a certain point, it did feel a little. The world could have been a bit more fleshed out. Like
Well,
I
if,
was just kind of after a while going, I'm just main questing everything. I didn't feel like the each after like the first couple of areas, yes, but as the game went on, I was like, okay, I'm flicking this down to easy, and I'm just going for the main quest because this gunplay doesn't feel very nice.
yeah. Well, what
I'm
if
here for the story.
what if they address that in a sequel?
That would be great.
The Outer Worlds 2. Let me tell you something. They're making it. So
Yeah.
it's coming out? Question mark. To the Xbox series of consoles, obviously Steam and even PS5, even though it's a Microsoft game. That's just where we're at now.
Yeah. I liked. I think Outer Worlds 1 had an excellent foundation, and I still enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I think they can make. They
I
had something
want.
really. You could only ever have one companion with you, or just two. But anytime you wanted to change, you'd go back to your ship and drop them in, drop them out, and then
Oh yeah,
continue. And if there was like a quest line, you need this character to go back to your ship and bring that guy. I was like,
that's kind of how I felt too when I was playing. I'm like, there's some good bones here. It's not
yeah,
all the way there, but there's definitely they were going for something, and I think they mostly got it. And if they just made a few key changes, then this would be killer.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Looking
I'm
forward
very
to that.
excited for that.
And you can play it on your PS5, even though it's a Microsoft game.
Will how many more console generations will Xbox be around
I've
as a
asked
console?
myself this question. They claim they're going to do it in perpetuity. I think they're lying.
Yeah,
What's the
I
point?
think was it maybe when Phil Spencer, someone said we lost the worst console generation
Yeah,
to lose because that's when
yeah.
everyone got their digital library, and
And
now we're going
he's
like,
right. Who's
yeah,
who's going to give up all those games? No one.
yeah,
So that's the right answer. And from a business standpoint, if fewer people are going to buy those boxes, and just the cost to build a machine like that, uh, why would you do it, right? I just don't understand the cost benefit
Mhm.
analysis where something like that is worth doing if you're just going to put your game on everyone else's system anyway. So
Yeah. They bought all these studios and now just going to put them on everything anyway. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but looking forward to that. As we mentioned, coming to PS5, Steam, Xbox, 2025. Don't know when in 2025, but at some point.
cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Something called Split Fiction, which I'm not.
Oh, that's done by
Oh yeah, the
Joseph
Overcooked
Fares.
people, right? Oh wait, no, you're right.
Oh
That's the
wait, is
Joseph
it?
Ferris thing. You're right. You're right. I'm trying to remember. There was one by the Overcooked people. I'm sure we'll get there at some point. But you're right. I think Split Fiction is the Joseph Ferris game, and I thought that looked super cool.
Yeah, I think he's wonderful.
Yeah,
His enthusiasm, I'm a passionate man. Yes, you are, sir. You most certainly are. I'd say, I'd say the wife is okay. Joseph, it's 7 a.m. Can you just tone it down? No, babe, I made the greatest eggs you've ever seen.
the
You
bacon
must try these. You must try these. The bake. Oh, I put these little twinkling bits. Kids, get up. Try these. I'd say he's.
is it is very good. Yes. So that's a co-op game, which again, really cool little niche that they carved out for themselves. Or there, where
Mhm.
it's you buy the game, you get 2 copies to give to somebody, and you can just play through it, and that's awesome. Like I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I have not played
And
um, any of his games except for Brothers, but I want to. And again, this is another one of those like I need people, and I didn't have people for a long time. But again,
don't you have
now,
don't you have a wife?
oh, she has no desire to play any of those. She's not.
But what about that game? It Takes Two. It's literally about a husband
It's
and a
about
wife having a.
divorce.
Well, yeah, you can learn from their mistakes.
That's true. Uh, I'll have to hit her up about it. I don't expect that to no.
No.
But this thing, especially the varied environments and the way that you get new abilities that much, like I'm a sucker for that thing, and
Hmm.
yeah, that looked really cool. So Split Fiction coming to your platform of choice minus Switch in on March 6th, 2025. That is not that long away. That's pretty close. So
Yep.
Steel Hunters. Moving on.
I
I'm
don't know.
kidding.
I don't recall. I don't. Nope. Nope.
I don't recall it either. Free to play PvP VE shooter. Set.
So yeah, when I see any sort of free to play stuff, I or a shoot like I just blank expression. You could
Yeah,
blow through one ear and you'll just hear a whistle out
it,
the other.
it was less so this year. I have said in previous years and in other shows like this, I've a lot of times I watch this and my wife's in the room and I look over to her and like, man, all these games look the same. I can't
Mm.
tell the difference, and this is one of those ones. And I feel terrible saying that where it enters. I compartmentalize it into a spot in my brain, and I'm like, okay, I don't need to use resources on this. It's going to go in there and it exists. And if someone and at some point, if something pulls it out, great. But right now, I've got other things to use my resources on.
Yeah, if
Steel
you put that
Hunters,
in, if you put that in, you're gonna have to forget the Miracle on Ice or something.
exactly right. Yeah, and I'll start forgetting people's names and stuff like that. I can't. I don't have room for Steel Hunters. I've got I've got things I got to remember. So that when you reach this age, like stuff starts to go, man. Like we've got too much stuff to know and not enough brain to know it. Uh, so that's our conversation on Steel Hunters. Is that it's not worthy of our brain power. I'm sorry, Steel Hunters. Maybe you're great, but it's a PC beta test on Steam. It does not say a date. I'm going to assume now, maybe now.
Maybe.
Uh, Black Frost, The Long Dark 2. I did not play the Long Dark one.
Nor did I.
Okay. Well, it's a survival game. It apparently has a narrative, which makes me more interested in it. I didn't know that. Um, but I'm not a big survival game person for the most part, and that is what this is. So, Black Frost: A Long Dark 2 Early Access 2026 does not say a platform. I assume the PC.
Everything.
Yeah, or maybe everything. I don't know. Uh, Adam, tell me about Borderlands.
I played a lot of the first one and a small amount of the second one and haven't touched it since.
You are 1-to-1 exactly in the situation I'm in. I played a
Yeah.
lot of the first one. I played very little of the second one, and then have not even looked at it since.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I played the first one co-op with my brother, and then I don't know what happened to him some evening. We got, 4/5 the way through. But then he decided he was going to finish it off without me because
What?
he was just bored some evening and just started playing.
That's a
So then I was
topic.
like, yeah, I was like, I'm not finishing it now. The whole
That's
point is we were doing it together. I'm not.
yeah.
No.
That's a
And
topic
then
for not this podcast, but that drives
I,
me crazy.
I had to ask him, okay, well, what is in the vault and what's the thing you find? He's like, it's kind of like nothing really. I went, oh, now I don't care. I thought we were going to find this great treasure that everyone keep talking
Yeah,
about. And so it's just kind of,
yeah. To be fair,
oh,
he's right.
yeah. So then I tried playing a bit of the second one, but I wasn't playing with my brother anymore, and he had moved country, and the humor's fine, but
Yeah,
after a while, I'm not much of a shooter, so I was like, I'll just have to play.
yeah. My thing about the second one and subsequent games was that the first one, they're like, what if we give you the most overpowered guns imaginable? Like, you're gonna find a gun and there's no downside. It's just this thing shoots unlimited ammo. You don't have to reload, and it does a ton of damage, and that's what you're gonna have. And then in the second one, they're like, what if you have this really powerful gun, but it if you get hit once you die? Like, there's always a downside to the guns, and I don't know why, but I really didn't gel with that because I didn't latch on to the guns in the way that I did in the first one. If I had like this emotional attachment to my gun that dropped with random stats, and I didn't feel that way in the second one,
Yep.
so I fell off it and I haven't
No.
touched it since. Nothing wrong with it. People that like it, I'm happy that people like it, but not for me
Also,
anymore.
it's very hard to like Randy Pitchford when he comes out talks about his game.
Now, what happened there? Like, there was a time where people kind of liked him, and then because
Yeah.
he was this guy that he got in, making mods, and then did expansions for the first Half Life, which everybody liked, and then he made this like interesting, if not flawless series of World War II shooters. I say his company made I don't even remember, Brothers in Arms, I think it was called, and people seemed to like those. And then the first Borderlands came out, and it was kind of mind blowing at the time because they didn't really do looter shooters back then.
Hmm.
Uh, and now the tides have turned, and it just rubs everybody the wrong way. And Borderland is popular enough, but doesn't seem to be setting the world on fire like once people thought it might.
That movie didn't help either.
What are you talking about? That amazing. I mean, the Oscars haven't come up yet. That's coming up soon. Yeah, notably, not nominated for best adaptation. Did you notice that?
Yep.
Uh,
Everything else, I literally everything else that
yeah,
even tried
every
nominated.
possible eligible thing was nominated, and that one wasn't.
And
Very
Randy's
funny.
already at the show.
He's
Like,
already there. Like,
you
you
know,
might
you
as
couldn't have
well.
thrown him the ball.
Just yeah, they knew everyone would call him out on it if they did that. So that's funny. Borderlands 2, 2025, allegedly. I'm not sure I believe it. Um, Tekken 8, Clive Rosfield gameplay trailer. Do you play Tekken?
1 and 2.
Yeah, me too. Or do we just have the exact same gaming history? Like, that's where I stopped as well.
And for 2, I
I've,
kind of see all that had to offer.
I mean, I've touched most of them to varying degrees. Like, when the PS2 came out, that was kind of the only thing to play
Your
for
Honor.
it. Yeah. I mean, they were of age, and it was consensual. So I'm not sure why we're here. Yeah,
Your Honor, I've touched most of them to
yeah.
varying degrees.
What's the This one's 8. So what's the age of consent in video game land?
Well, the series has been around for what,
It's
30
been a
years?
long
It's
time. Yeah, so I'm
fine.
sure. Great. And yeah, listen, I was underage, so it was like, we were experimenting, me and
Romeo and
Tekken.
Juliet low.
Yeah, like I think I was 6 when the first Tekken came out, 7, something like that, and that it was a toddler by that standard. So I guess that's not great, but
Yeah, it's fine. It's I know it's kind of cool, but not for me personally.
I've never played Final Fantasy 15. It's on, or 16 rather. It's on the list. I just haven't played it.
I played the demo. I was kind of intrigued, and definitely I would like to get around to it at some point.
Platinum Journey.
Maybe. I'm thinking of Final Fantasy X first, though. If I'm going to go dive into those Final
Oh,
Fantasies,
I
I'm starting with Final Fantasy X.
I don't know how I can be involved in that, but I'd love to. I love Final Fantasy 10. I'll
Yeah,
just be excited for the episode when it comes out.
yeah.
All right. Splitgate 2.
I didn't care for its first split gate.
I didn't mind it. Um, I don't really have anything else to say about it other than they're making another one. If in a world where Halo did not blow up in the way that maybe could have been detrimental to Splitgate's success, uh, I feel it's ripe. Like this is good timing. Everyone's dissatisfied with the state of Halo. They were in trouble when Splitgate 1 came out, and then Halo Infinite came out and it was free to play, and everyone's like, "Oh man, this is the end of Splitgate," and then no one liked Halo Infinite, so they've got an opportunity here. Best of luck to them. Will I play it? Probably not, but I'm glad it exists. Splitgate 2 in 2025 coming to the platforms you would think it would come to, as in all of them, but not Switch.
Waiting on the Switch too.
Yeah, probably.
This is great. They
Uh,
get to release this, and then in about a year's time, like, oh, we got this Switch 2 version.
Mecha Break.
I don't recall this.
I don't recall this either, and I feel like we're spending too much time on these ones. I apologize. Mecha Break. Spring 2025, the platforms that you would think. New Virtua Fighter project. Cool. They're making a new Virtua Fighter.
Good for
And
them.
and it's from the Yakuza slash Like a Dragon people. Also kind of neat.
Yeah, terrible trailer though.
It was not a good trailer. I thought it was a Yakuza one. I think that was by design. um,
Yeah, and then they decided to show a bunch of the actual gameplay footage off screen.
yeah,
Just
which is
was
silly.
weird.
Which I didn't actually see, but I'm sure it looked like Virtua Fighter. I like Virtua Fighter, so I'm glad that exists. I liked Virtua Fighter more than Tekken, so I'm glad that that's
And
coming
by
back.
off screen, I mean that they had a camera pointing at a TV, and that was part of the
Oh wait,
trailer.
wait, really? I missed that.
Yeah, as in when it cut to actual proper gameplay, instead of showing a
Oh yeah,
direct
yeah, yeah.
feed,
You're right. You're right. They
they
did.
had a
That was
camera
weird.
looking at a TV playing it, which then and the lighting wasn't correct, so it looked a bit blown. It was a terrible idea. It
It
was
was
like it would be easier. Did nobody have a capture card on the day? What was going on here?
yeah, and also they could have just said there's a new Virtua Fighter coming out made by these people, and that would have been enough. It would have
Yeah.
been better than showing grainy off-screen gameplay.
Some folks for their trailers do too much. The cinematic trailer for The Witcher, too much. That Naughty Dog trailer later on, too
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Well, we'll get
Psychonauts
there.
2 cinematics, too much.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Project Century, also a game by Like a Dragon, and I don't remember what that looked like. So
I think it looked kind of cool,
I remember
but
thinking that both of
fairly.
those games looked cool, but I don't remember what this one was. So
They definitely had the feel of kind of a not triple A, kind of double A or neither single A, to be honest.
yeah. So no information on that. It's called Project Century. That can't be the actual name of the game. So
Yeah.
you'll see that
I
someday.
like the setting. That
Yeah,
kind of era Japan.
yeah. Oh
Not
yeah.
usually
Okay. Now
gorgeous.
you just washed my memory back to what it is. That did look cool. You're right. I was
Yeah,
actually very interested in that.
like was it 1905 or something? That's kind of an era of Japan we don't often see.
Uh, Turok Origins. I could not care less about Turok.
I knew it was Turok.
I did
I
too.
know that for a long time people have been clamoring for it, so happy for them. Personally,
Yes,
don't care.
happy people, happy for people. My wife looked over to me and they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's Turok, probably." It's like, and there it is. The origins. Finally, we know how Turok came to
That's
be.
such a terrible. Can we retire Origins?
Yeah. I'm gonna go real quick and rename my game. Don't worry about. Just give me a second. And
The
okay.
beginnings, where it started, how it began.
Honestly, that would be kind of refreshing. That's not bad. But then we're gonna get a million of those.
Yeah. Imagine Turok, how it started. And you're like, oh shit, okay, cool.
And then the sequel is How It's Going.
Yeah. And then how it ends.
All right. Turok Origins, someday the platforms you would expect. When I say that, it means everything but Switch moving forward.
Yeah.
Um,
You could just say
Helldiver,
everything but Switch.
everything but Switch. I could say that. It's about the same. It's probably actually fewer syllables, so I'll start saying that. Helldivers 2, Omens of Tyranny. Um, I didn't get into Helldivers 2.
I didn't either. So it's co-op shooter thingamajig, and I don't really. I do
It,
like the sort of presentation around it, and fighting tyranny and all for democracy
it
and
is
crush the bugs
exactly
and
it is exactly Starship
Starship.
Troopers.
Yeah,
but I like Starship Troopers, so yeah, I'm glad it exists. I want to play it. I would love an environment, a world where I can make the time to do it. I just haven't yet. That's DLC coming to PS5 and PC. So look for that. Warframe 1999. I'm not a big Warframe guy.
how is this still going?
It
This
is
was like a
insane.
launch title for the PS4. How is
It
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 still
was.
going?
I remember I played the alpha when it came out in college in like 2011 or something like that. It was or 2012, some absurd time ago, and it's still going. People like it. There are cons.
And
There's
it
conventions.
seems to be well known enough now. They're getting kind of like they presented it. I think the lady who was the director came out on stage
Yeah,
to show off. So it was you didn't get like, oh, here's a quick. No, it was like the actual director came out to talk
yeah,
about it
no,
briefly. And
yeah. It's a big deal thing, and they're making a fantasy version. Oh, I don't even
also,
remember what it's called.
I was very worried about her dress. That was a bold choice.
Oh yeah, I remember thinking that too. I
Like,
was
do
also
not
concerned.
turn left or right.
There has to
Just.
be like mountains of tape underneath, right? There's just or yes, or maybe she had a very set trajectory. She was not allowed
Yeah.
to deviate from that path. All right. Well, that's if you're into that, I guess it is out now. So there you go. And that is Warframe 1999. I assume that's just some kind of expansion. Pal World Faybreak. I did not get into Pal World. We're reaching the part of the show where like games were coming out. I'm like, okay, they hit it. They started the show with a showstopper, uh, and did some interesting stuff since then. And then there's a bunch of stuff that I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think the first maybe like half the show was strong. They
Yeah,
had an arcane music performance as well. They had some other things, but yeah, I definitely felt myself waning. I was glad I had that hour and a half buffer. I was like, okay, yeah, da, 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 da.
yeah. There's a lull, and then there's the occasional like, boop, yep, I'm very excited, and then back to the lull. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, not everything's gonna be for me, and that includes Pal World Faybreak. If you're into it, Adam, I don't think you mentioned you're not into Pal World. You can't be. There's no way.
No,
December 23rd. There will be more information, I guess. I don't know what that means. No. Yeah. Latest update. Oh, no. It comes out on December 23rd. That makes more sense. This was cool. Onimusha, Way of the Sword. I love Onimusha. So I'm glad that they're making another one of those. I think you would
yeah,
like Onimusha now that I think about it.
I played it way back on PS2.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
It was the very first game where a boss had a health bar on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, that's mind blowing. That's innovation right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, when you're fighting it and then you do a few slashes and it goes, tip. It's like, wait a second. Like, here's the health bar, which
Yeah.
is the entire screen, and you
Yeah.
just do like this much of damage. It's a tiny percentage. And you go, how long is this boss fight? And you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
slipping away, slipping away, slipping away, slipping away.
Yeah. I really liked those first three Onimusha games. I'm glad that I don't even think there's one more other than that, so it's not like I missed that many of them. But I'm glad they're bringing that back. There's a lot of potential there, especially today.
It's cool when he did the thing where he stands there and sucks in the health and the
Yep.
energy things, and like that's Onimusha.
So when I saw those floating souls, I'm like, they're not making a new Onimusha. That'd be crazy. And then it went like, I'm like, yes, they
Yeah,
knew
I
they
like it.
they were appealing to me. They knew what they were doing. That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's when
They
a
like,
cinematic trailer works, right? Where they like
yeah,
I don't know something exists. They're teasing me just enough to get my hopes up, and then they are fulfilling my hopes. That's a
yeah.
good
It's
cinematic
like
trailer.
you just have that moment where it clicks with you, and then you can go into your actual gameplay stuff.
Yeah, it is the equivalent of wrestler returns and their music video or their music hits and big pop.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
you didn't expect
Yeah.
him to be there. Like there was rumors maybe, like so my hopes up are a little bit, but I don't know for sure. And then bam,
Yeah. And then they cut to the crowd and someone's got a sign with their name on
yes,
it.
yep, exactly. But everyone's losing it. That was me when he sucked in those souls. That was Randy right
Yeah.
there.
That was
Onimusha,
so pop.
yep, Onimusha, Way of the Sword. It says 2026 on everything but Switch. I bet you that gets delayed. There's not enough
Sure.
there. I don't know. I just feel like it is. The first Berserker Kazan that looked neat. I guess
Sure.
yeah. I mean, it looked like an open world action game. I think. Yeah, it is what I'm thinking it is. I don't know if it was open world or not, but looked kind of cool based on the Dungeon and Fighter world universe. I played Dungeon and Fighter before. It was okay, um, but no emotional attachment to it whatsoever. If it comes out and it's like, oh, this is the greatest game ever been made, you should check it out. I'll check it out. Why not? March 27th, 2025, the first Berserker Kazan. That's when you get to get your hands on that one. Oh boy. I don't know how to actually read this one. It's Arad ARAD Dungeon and Fighter. Another open world action adventure RPG set in the same universe. I don't remember what it is, so unfortunately we have
They
to
did
move on.
those two back to back. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Well, they got it, it's in the same
I wonder I
universe.
don't remember
But
the
it's
second
weird.
one.
It's
I was like,
weird that they're the same type of game and they're back to back in the same universe. I'm surprised that they would make two of those types of
maybe
games.
there's something in the show that broke them up. I doubt they do just those two trailers back to back.
I don't know. That's crazy. But if you're into Dungeon and Fighter, there you go. Dying Light: The Beast. It's a standalone Dying Light game. Doesn't say Dying Light 2, but I assume it's based on 2 and not 1.
Did you play Dying Light?
I played the first one, not that much, but I did play a good amount. I enjoyed what I played. I did not touch 2 at all.
Yeah.
That was prime open world fatigue for me. That was
And it's zombies as well. So
and zombie fatigue also. Like it's also a really good point. I'm less zombie fatigued now, but at the time that was height of cultural zombie phenomenon with The Walking Dead and a bunch of
yeah,
bazillion
just
zombie
about the only thing
games.
I can tolerate with zombies in it these days is The Last of Us, and the last part 2 was what 4 years ago. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's also a special case because zombies are like secondary pretty much to that thing.
yeah, you're fighting humans as much as you fight zombies.
Yeah. So Dying Light: The Beast, summer 2025, everything but Switch. Hunt Showdown 1896. This is eventful because I forget Crytek exists. In terms of like, what's the last thing they have done that is not this?
Yeah, for me, Crytek is Crysis, and if they're
Yes,
not doing
right,
Crysis,
exactly.
they're non-existent.
And Crisis 3 was like a decade ago. So what?
Yeah.
I guess they're doing this. I didn't even think about them until I know this game exists, but I forget. Again, it's in that compartment, right, where like I don't have room. Like I'll pull it out when I need to talk about it, but then it goes back in there.
Yeah.
If you're into Murder Circus trailer, I thought the Murder Circus setting looked kind of neat. I don't really like that kind of game though, so it's not really for me. I want to say Post Malone was randomly in the trailer.
Yep. Well, not randomly. He was front and center.
I say randomly in that I
He
did not
literally opened
expect
it.
Post Malone.
And he called it his circus.
I
He's
know.
basically the main character.
Well, it's random in the sense that if you would have told me like, oh, Crytek's extraction shooter is going to heavily feature a Post Malone circus full of murder, I would say that's random. That's what I mean by randomly.
Are these not different games?
To what? The Post
I
Malone
thought the
thing?
Murder Circus. Is it Murder Circus Crisis? Sorry, Crytek?
Yes, because it's the Hunt Showdown, which I believe is Crytek, right? Am I wrong?
Oh, this is a standalone. Yeah.
Hunt Showdown 1896 Murder Circus trailer.
That's a great title.
Well, I don't think Murder Circus is in the title.
How many colons got? Does it have 2 colons?
It has 1 colon, and Murder Circus is not in the title. I think I added that. Murder Circus is just part of it, I guess. I don't know. Leave in the comments. Tell me more. If Hunt Showdown is your favorite game, I need to know more about this and why Post Malone is involved at all. But that's coming to everything but Switch, including Game Pass on February 10th. Hey, do you like Squid Game?
I've not watched it. I kind
Okay,
of,
I
it's
watched
okay.
it and I had a good time.
Yeah.
They're making a Fall Guys for Squid Game, which
They
is
did a
the
big presentation around it
yeah.
when they had all the dancers and stuff.
Well, so people don't. I don't think people realize Squid Game is the biggest thing Netflix has ever done by a very wide margin.
I think they
It
got to
it
1 billion
yeah,
views or
it is the
something.
most successful thing they have ever done. So it's weird that they haven't really capitalized on it. I don't think they expected it to hit the way that it was going to. Um, but here we
I'd
go.
say
They're trying now.
it's something where you can't really you can't just do one season after another. You have to like I can imagine them do nothing for next or developing something and then there'll be 5 years in between season 1 and season 2.
It's been some time. Like I feel like it's been multiple years since the last season.
Well,
So
oh well.
yeah, I don't know. It's weird that now. I mean, season 2 is coming out on the December 26th, I think, the show.
Oh,
So it
there we
makes
go.
sense that they would launch a game to go along with it, and they have. And here it is. If you like Fall Guys or Squid Games, you're in for some fun, maybe.
Wait, so that would make it what, 4 years between season 1 and season 2?
Maybe.
So my initial idea is correct. They were
Yes.
just taking their time.
So where's your royalty check?
Yeah.
Because you figured
Netflix.
it out.
Yeah.
Squid Game Unleashed on December 17th. It says Netflix games. I remember them specifically mentioning that you don't need a Netflix subscription to play, and that's noteworthy because a lot of their games you do.
Yeah, Oxenfree 2 was one. And then
Yep.
they went, let's just put everyone.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Seems kind of neat. Stage Fright. This is the game I was talking about when I conflated this with Split Fiction, where it is like the two kids watching uh, a horror
Yeah.
movie or
It looked
whatever.
nice.
That looked cool. I liked Overcooked a lot. There's not a lot to. I don't didn't really get a good sense of what it is yet, but it looks kind of cool.
What you make of Jeff's acting ability?
I was impressed actually, if I'm being honest. Like he sold it. Was it good? I don't know, but I was happy that he went for it.
Huh?
Yeah, he's like, oh,
Oh no!
oh,
We know if something wrong, Jeff it wouldn't make that face. He'd be like, just
yeah. He'd be
seething with
livid. Yes, he
rage.
would send
Yeah,
security after it if that was the case.
yeah. He'd be like, we work all year on this goddamn thing. Something went wrong.
You remember this? It happened the first year where someone ended up on stage, and then like okay, and then the second year it happened again. He's like, oh no, not again. And I'm sitting there thinking, this has to be on purpose, right? This has to be he's making fun of it. No, someone else got on stage. It's like
Did you?
weird.
And this year the security was so tight, even Ken Kutaragi couldn't get on stage.
That's what I was wondering. What happened to Ken Kutaragi? Was he murdered? Like, what happened? I feel that's the father of PlayStation right there. What are you doing?
Just saying, the camera did never cut to him again. So
He's dead.
yeah,
Confirmed.
go on.
Stage Fright. Check that out. Wish list on Steam. That's all it says here. Game of Thrones, King's Road. I like those books. The show I like a decent amount too. I haven't watched all of it. I hear it doesn't end well.
I would agree.
Uh, and it says open world mobile game, but I don't think that's entirely true. That can't just be a mobile game.
It looked visually quite underwhelming.
It did, but not underwhelming enough that I would say they're not going to put it on consoles and PC.
I'd say it's on PS4,
I
if
would
not
sure,
PS3 as well.
sure, why not? PS3, you mean PS5?
It looked very bad graphic.
Yes,
You're
well,
like,
they're
oh,
not
you
going to
got the
release
game.
it for PS3. That'd be
Like, you
outrageous.
got the Game of Thrones license. Do something, because the
Well,
story does look might be interesting.
well, they're appealing to the people that would watch Game of Thrones in the sense that you have phones and you don't play games, but we want you to play this one.
This is actually a mobile phone game.
It says it in this description. I guess I'm going to look it up now. Game of Thrones, King's Road platforms.
If it's a mobile phone game, then it looks
How?
good.
It is only for mobile.
That's okay.
Well, I will never play that.
I'm also out.
Sorry. I like the idea. Do something with that. How would you have the biggest IP in like the past however many years and you don't do anything with it. What the heck's going on here? How
Yeah,
has no one figured it out?
imagine if Hogwarts Legacy was on mobile only.
Oh man, I know, but that's a really good example of they figured it out, right? The Hogwarts
Hmm.
Legacy, a huge success, appealed to the fans of the thing. How have you not done that with this rich, beautiful world that has
They
been
even
created?
got the actor for Jon Snow and one of the
Oh,
other
it
characters.
seems like all of them. Jamie Lannister was in there. It's a good amount of them seem to be in there. So what's
Yeah.
up? What's up? What are you doing? I'm not going to play your phone game. Game of Thrones.
No.
I know it's a positivity podcast, so I'm going to say it's the greatest game ever made. I'm happy it exists, and it comes out
Sure.
on mobile in 2025. Game of Thrones, King's Road. Have fun with it. There's a new Double Dragon game. I can't talk about it.
Okay.
I don't have the energy. It comes out on October 23rd, 2025. I apologize if you're way into Double Dragon, but you know what you're getting with that. So there you go. I was very interested in this specifically for its name, and it's Solo Leveling Arise.
I
Solo
do not
leveling.
recall.
Well, it was like picture anime in your brain,
Uh-huh.
and then picture a fight. Solo
Cool.
Leveling Arise is now in your brain. Maybe that's harsh. Like I feel terrible saying this stuff when there's people out there like, no, it's my. I like what you like, right? This podcast is about feeling good about what you like it, feel good about it. It's not my thing. It's okay that it's not my thing, but I'm amused by the title. It comes out October 23rd, 2025, and that is Solo Leveling Arise. It also says it's coming to mobile, so that kind of gives you a sense of what we're talking about here. What were the platforms? It was mobile, PlayStation, Xbox, PC. Man, Switch getting the shaft today. I'm not sure what's up
They're
with that.
waiting. They're waiting.
Yeah, they are. I bet you all of these games come out Switch 2 day one. Like
Yeah.
they're just like, here we go.
Switch 2 is going to have the greatest launch ever.
Well, it will just by virtue of having the Switch 1 library too,
Yeah.
right? So, uh, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered PC announcement trailer. I played through this game, so I don't need it.
Yeah, I thought this already came to PC.
Nope.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I thought it was already there.
The Last of Us 1 remastered came to PC. No, The Last of Us Part 1 came to PC.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting
Yeah,
confused with
that's
the
right.
names because now there's The Last of Us Part 2 and there's The Last of Us Part 2 remastered.
The best comment I saw on one of the videos for the Intergalactic game was, "Damn, trailer's been up 42 minutes. Time for a remaster."
I not wrong. Yeah, I mean, I get it. And if people are going to buy it, do it, man.
But as in, I don't understand if people are like, you don't have to buy
Just
it.
don't buy it.
It's okay.
Guess who
Yeah.
didn't buy it?
All right.
This guy. Guess who played those
Yeah.
games? This guy. Guess who doesn't need to play
Yeah.
them again? This guy. Like,
Yeah, as in, if you don't buy them, and enough people don't buy them, they'll stop making them.
if I play that game again, those games,
Yeah.
and at the time that I do, which will probably be a long time from now, the remasters are heavily discounted. I will play those versions.
Yeah.
But I will not buy. But why? Like, you've played the game. Like, you know what happens unless they change it. I don't think they did. So just don't buy it. It makes people money. And guess what? That's how people don't get laid off. That's how people can fund their next game. Stop complaining about people trying to keep their employees by by doing something that's going to make them money for no reason. Like that, I
Yeah.
can't blame anybody for that. So
I think
again, positivity
Druck,
podcast, but
yeah, I think Neil Druckmann was speaking about been in pre-production for Intergalactic since 2020
yeah.
after they finished Last of Us Part 2.
And
So
that's
then they did Last of Us Part 1 and then Part 2 remastered. All the money from that goes into
yeah,
funding this new thing.
and keeping people employed. Because
Yeah.
keeping in mind, if Last of Us Part 2 came out in 2020, and if they didn't release anything between then and now, that's
Yeah. To be
4 years of just payroll.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, right? And I know Last of Us Part 2 did well. They're owned by Sony. At the same time, that's still a lot of money to not have. Games are expensive, and especially The Last of Us, incredibly expensive. So even though it was a hit, it wasn't a big enough hit to sustain hundreds, if not thousands, of employees for 4 years. They need money coming in. Like I don't blame it. As far as I know, I don't think Naughty Dog has laid anybody off. Has that happened? I don't think so.
I don't think they've went through the kind of mass layoffs that our
Right.
studios have done.
So hey, release your dumb ports of games that I'm not going to buy. Like if it means
Yep,
you're keeping people employed, more power to you.
I'm okay
Um,
with that.
that comes out the PC version of Last of Us Part Two, April 3rd, 2025. Check it out or not. But like your decision, no matter what decision you make. Den of Wolves. I found this noteworthy for one reason. This is the multiplayer heist game from the Payday and GTFO guy. If you're not familiar with any of those things.
I'm familiar with Payday. That's about it.
Okay. I found this noteworthy because it's made in Unity, and this is clearly the biggest budget game I've ever seen made in Unity, which is interesting to me. That's relevant to my
Mhm.
interest because I make games.
Oh,
So
okay.
most big budget games are not made in Unity. And in fact, I can't think of any
So
big budget games that have been.
they all Unreal Engine 5, is it?
Unreal Engine 5 or proprietary, in-house engine. It's
Even I
interesting.
think CD Projekt Red ditched their proprietary engine, haven't they? The Red engine, they've ditched it.
Yes, they went to Unreal because it's expensive. It's a lot of work, and if you have something, we'll pay a little bit of money, and all the tools are here for us. Again, it's no brainer.
Yeah.
And Unity, I like Unity a lot. They made a lot of terrible business decisions lately, but I've always wondered, like, why haven't more big budget games been made in this thing? It's, I think it's capable, and now it's proving that it's capable, and I'm curious where the landscape goes as a result. That's the only thing that I found noteworthy about this. I'm not going to play this, unfortunately. But that's coming out. Question mark on Steam. Den of Wolves. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. It's a Sonic kart racer.
Cool.
Uh, I'm happy because those games are pretty good, but I don't have anything else to say about it. Everything except mobile. When I say everything but Switch, I don't include mobile. Got to remember mobile is a platform. So I'll try to be more careful about that. Mafia: The Old Country. I thought that looked cool.
I didn't.
You didn't think so?
No, I didn't see any gameplay.
Oh well, that's true, but the cool setting.
Yeah, but again, I already knew the setting.
Yeah, but you kind of already know what the gameplay is.
I don't
Third
know.
person open world shooter.
It wasn't one I was paying very much attention to. I was like, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. I'm interested to see where that narrative goes in that setting. Mafia: The Old Country, summer 2025, on everything except Switch and mobile.
Yeah, I most certainly be checking out reviews because it has an awful lot of potential.
Yeah. Um, we're reaching the end here. So
Thank
not
Christ.
yeah, Dispatch, the game Dispatch, and the only thing I remember about this is Aaron Paul and Laura Bailey riffing on each other, which I thought was fun.
They were good.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
That, honestly, they had some chemistry.
Oh, this is the
They
work.
should be
Oh
more-
yeah. And this is the workplace comedy like that. I thought that looked cool. I thought that looked fun. I'm
Yeah,
curious
when
about
she
that.
was like, "It's so nice to hear this from you," and then he kind of stares at her longingly for a second. What did I say about talking to me or looking at me or something like that? Yeah,
I mean, those are actors, right? Those are professionally
yeah.
trained people that know what they're doing. So, and they are apparently featured in Dispatch, which is coming to Steam in 2025.
It
Check it
almost
out.
feels bad because it feels like they should be in a bigger game together.
I think so, but maybe this is, I don't know. Yeah,
Looks
I
fun.
mean,
Looks like fun.
you got to do projects you want to do in addition to the ones that are going to pay you, right? Like, if this is like, oh, this is neat. I'm curious about the script and the story, and who
Yeah,
knows. And Aaron Paul, what's Aaron Paul doing these days?
cashing them Breaking Bad
Yeah,
checks.
I would imagine, right? Like he's not. He was in Need for Speed,
Yeah,
which was his, claim to fame, as far as I'm concerned.
that was his preeminent role.
Yes, everyone remembers him as Jesse Pinkman. I remember him as Guy from Need for Speed. We talked about the Okami sequel again. That's cool. Crimson Desert, which is open world action RPG. Have you heard of an open world action RPG before? I didn't know they made those.
What a
It's a novel
What a
concept to put
unique
those. Yeah, like
combination of
I
genres.
don't know how anyone would have ever come up with that. Like that one might be a hit just as a result of the
Mm.
uniqueness of it. We are being
Mhm.
slightly mean to this. It looked all right, but it looks like what those look like, and it's Crimson Desert. It's coming out on pretty much everything. It lists Mac here. It's on Mac. So there you go. Not mobile, not Switch. Here it is. Adam, we're here. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. What do you think?
Okay, let's start with the negatives. The name.
The name is awful. The name is really really bad. Uh, Outside of that though, I don't know enough. It looked good, as in I think that was in engine, but there was no gameplay, so I don't know what kind of
Oh,
game
it
it is.
was. That's it. Yeah, that was the like delivery point of this is all in engine.
Yeah, and
It was like,
it looked like real actors, as in those looked like actors with likenesses as opposed to what they normally do.
yeah. When you see the facial animation, you go, "This is Naughty Dog."
Yeah, but interesting is that they normally, so Troy Baker doesn't look like Joel, for example.
Hmm.
These are, I believe, the actors. I think that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of the lady who's modeled that, and it's her face. Yeah,
So that's interesting.
I think that's what the Insomniac were saying why they changed Peter Parker's face because they wanted
I think that's
the
a lie.
actor. I don't know what they were doing to be honest, but that was their excuse was that they wanted to have kind of the face model and the voice together.
The real excuse is they got pressure from Marvel to make him look more like the guy from the movies, the
Yeah, and
recent movies.
subsequently ruin a nice series you'd go for seven console.
Yeah, he does not look as good as he used to, in my
He looks
opinion.
younger
This,
than Miles, which
yeah.
throws me off.
Oh yeah, he's a baby boy, and he's supposed to be in his 30s in that one, or like late 20s or something. He's not supposed to
Yeah,
be.
he's supposed to have been Spider-Man for a decade
Yeah.
of sleepless nights. He looked tired.
Um,
He might have been only 24 in like the first movie, but he looked tired.
I'm glad
Like
I
this
played
was.
that before they fixed,
Yeah.
quote unquote, fixed it. I'm glad they changed, but
He looks like he's had a
hopefully,
full night's sleep and is barely 18
and is
and
still in high school.
yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you brought up.
And he's
Yeah,
seen with him and Mary Jane just creepy. He's like, dude,
yeah, like what are you doing?
Mary
That's
Jane,
she
walking
is
the
much
grave
older
of
than you. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's Spider Man. We're not here
Yeah,
for
as for
Spider Man.
Intergalactic. Okay, so parts I didn't like I got Guardians of the Galaxy kind of
So did
off it.
I, and I thought this so much so that I thought this was going to be a sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was
Y-
going to be the punch.
Yeah, it was Guardians of the Galaxy, but not as good. Because when they did the kind of the CD spinning thing, I went, "Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy," and then the song played. I went, "You're trying to be
Yeah,
like,
why
but you're
would you
not."
do that to yourself? Because it worked so well
Such
for Concord. Granted, they didn't know. They didn't know what was going to happen with Concord, but it seems like Sony really wants some kind of Guardians of the Galaxy thing out there.
yeah,
Between
yeah.
Concord and this,
But there's
I
actually a Guardians of the Galaxy. There's the actual Guardians of the Galaxy game, which is pretty solid.
which is awesome. Like I love that game. I played through it twice, and I don't do that. So
Yeah,
I love that game, and
yeah.
do just I don't understand because the second you put old music and like old,
Retro
yeah,
space
yeah,
theme. Yeah,
retro space theme, audio media that's outdated, like once you get that, you got people already associating it with that thing, and now you've set expectations, and now you have to meet or subvert those expectations. And why would you do
yeah,
that to yourself? Because if they didn't
yeah,
have that the music part, if that part wasn't
yeah,
there,
yeah.
it wouldn't be as easy to draw the line. You could just say like, okay, yeah, sure, maybe a little bit, but this was it. The tone wasn't quite there, and it was space. Like, we'll give them a pass. The second you add
Yeah.
that music stuff, you're like, okay, this is just Guardians of the Galaxy.
Also, the main character being a bit cocky.
Yeah,
Uh, and I didn't like her. And I was trying to figure out in my head what was the difference between like I didn't like her. It's like why did I like Star Lord? And I went back and watched the first trailer for that. And the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy opens with him being caught. And they're like, identify yourself. And he says, I'm Star Lord. The guy goes, who? He goes, and he kind of
yeah,
like a bit vulnerable. He goes like, I'm Star Lord, you know? And
yeah,
I was like, okay, now I feel bad for
yeah.
him because
He's
he's
a
trying to be
doof.
like,
He's a doof.
yeah. And then so then later on when he's kind of arrogant and cocky, you're like, ah,
Yeah,
good for you. They're
he's blowing
assholes. They're
smoke.
cool
Yeah,
with it. Yeah. So then with this one, I know I would. obviously you want to see more and hope it's only the opening. I would hope that there's more of a character arc they're going to go on.
Yeah. Well, and obviously they have the chops, so I suspect there will be some good writing, if not writing people agree with.
Yeah, I would they make this I don't know teenager or whatever it is. Maybe they're older. I don't know, but maybe they're certain attitude going into the mission, and then that first mission changes them, and they got to readjust.
Yeah,
Who
but I
knows?
agree with you. It was a weird way to introduce that character when like, oh, I don't like you already. That's not the way to do this. That's my
There
first
was
impression of
actually
you.
there was like no sincerity to anything. It was like, okay, you're being a bit mean.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll play it. Probably. I don't see why
So
not.
I would most certainly want to see gameplay. So if you're going to have that sort of sword laser thing, and then you're
Yeah.
fighting robots, is that going to be like? Then I started thinking of Journey to the West. Odyssey with
Yeah.
that game done by Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, we're going to be bashing bulky robots. So
Yeah.
basically,
Why
I
not?
just went, oh, it's Guardians of the Galaxy and Journey to the West
Yeah.
combat.
Enslaved.
So
Yes.
I hope there's a bit more to it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was if Naughty Dog wasn't attached to it, I'm not sure this would be the closer. It wouldn't be big enough to be the closer, right? There's not enough here, and like you said, I don't think it hit entirely. But
Yeah,
you put the Naughty Dog logo on there, and suddenly everyone's like, "Oh, okay,"
yeah.
and they
I'm
earned that.
Yeah. So I'm certainly eager to see more, but I do also worry about how far away this is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be a long time. But I'm looking forward to it. I guess just for the pedigree, and that
Now, I have a big fear,
of
it being open world.
you have yeah. It they struck a decent balance with The Last of Us Part Two. I felt there's open areas that I thought
Yep.
were good. If they do
They
that,
did
I'm
that
fine with
in
it.
yeah, Uncharted 4 where it had that kind of Jeep level.
Oh, Lost Legacy
So
was pretty much that too.
they had
So
the same one, yeah. So I'm okay with kind of a part of the game being
yeah,
that.
open area as I like to call it.
An open area. That's okay. But please don't. If I have a mini map, I'm going to freak out.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I bet you. You prepare yourself.
Yeah, I've got a bit low. I've got low expectations.
Wow. And you're like the Naughty Dog guy. You love those games.
Yeah, it's just tamper down the expectations. I'm very happy that developers get to do something bright and colorful for once. That's
Yeah.
going to be nice for them. Working on Last of Us Part 2 for 5 years, that is depressing.
And it's good to get your expectations. It would better to be surprised than disappointed.
Yeah, I'm excited that's a new Annoyed Eye thing, but there's a bunch of elements of it. I'm like, feels a bit trite. I'm like, okay,
I may
I
have
want to see
just
more.
held the announcement. I don't. It didn't. The show didn't need it. I didn't think. It was a strong show to begin
Well,
with.
if you want to close something with 100 million people to try and boost sales of your new IP. Also,
Yeah.
here's something that bothered me. Jeff announced as their new franchise. I was like, that's a bit presumptive.
I think that a I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's just shorthand for any new IP nowadays. B, come on. Of course they're going to make more than one.
I
Like,
know, but you don't go into it assuming, okay, this is the next, we're doing a trilogy.
well,
No, no,
so
do
I
the
think
first one.
it's either that or they say IP, and I think IP in front of an audience of 100 million people, I don't think that terminology lands. That's too jargony by saying IP. If you say
Sure,
franchise, people know
sure.
what that is. People are comfortable with franchises. They've been fed franchises for years with Marvel
Yeah.
and all that stuff, so people know what a franchise is. But IP, no, that people in suits talk about IPs. I don't want that nonsense. You get that out of here. Anyway,
So I'm bit of trepidation. I'm like,
yeah,
just want to see more. I'm excited that we finally that the idea of them doing a sci-fi game is real. That's quite exciting. Um, Now I
yeah.
thought I had a kind of a measured idea to it. Basically, like, yeah, cool. Some parts of Matt's like, have you tried reading comments on the videos?
Yeah. Well,
What is going on?
that is so that's in oh boy, I don't even remember the title already. Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet by Naughty Dog. We'll see where that goes. And those are the announcements. I feel like we should do what the show did and just kind of gloss over the awards real quick. Is there anything eventful off the top of your head that you want to address before we talk about Game of the Year?
Oh, I like the award to the developer guy who got 3,000 people jobs. That was
Yes.
cool.
In fact, I didn't know he existed, and now I need to look him up.
Yeah.
as someone that was affected in that way, that sounds relevant to my interests. So that was cool. And, like him crying and stuff, like it's always cool to see someone experience emotions. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a weird way to
I like
phrase
that.
that, but yeah. Um,
I do want to take a moment to defend the developers of Wukong. See the quote that was floating around for them?
oh yeah, I did. But go ahead. I'll leave you to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the someone later on had to readjust the Chinese translation. They were being sarcastic.
Yeah.
They're like,
Even
"I wrote my speech 2 years ago." Like, no, you didn't. Like
yeah.
they were joking. And then he's like, "Why did I even bother coming?"
Yeah.
Like they're
Yes. Again,
joking. They're
they're
not
joking.
serious. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got that too. Um, but you know, eh, here I will use this as a segue into the one issue that I have with the awards as they are. Not ignoring the part where they present them rapid fire. I don't love that either. But I want to talk about how Wukong won Best Action Game. Astrobot was also nominated for Best Action Game. Astrobot
So
then won Game of the Year over
ah,
Wukong.
but it's not so if you were to imagine like action and RPG, it's like in pure action, Wukong excels. It is better siloed off in just pure action, ignoring the themes, ignoring the setting, just in pure gameplay action. Wukong is better.
So the
But when
sum
you take in
of
all the other elements that encompass a game, they think Astrobot is better.
so the sum of Astrobot's parts equal higher than the sum of Wukong's parts.
Bingo.
I can see that as an argument, and I think you're right. I think that's where it's going. At the same time, it's weird to me where it doesn't say best game best action in game. It says best action game, and
Hmm.
I just don't know if we need genres as a category to begin with. Like highlight something that a game did well, and then highlight a game that does everything well. Like I think best game direction is a great category. It's like, oh, this game was
Hmm.
directed really well. They have best, I don't even know if they have best graphics, best art direction or something like that, right? They have.
They used to have best art
Yeah,
direction.
they've got
I
to have it
definitely
in
think
here
there should
somewhere.
be just pure best graphics. What will melt your eyeballs? It can be a terrible game to play, but it will be great to look
Yeah,
at.
best art direction is on here. There's best performance. That's the kind like I like the technical stuff where like tell me what a game did. Best design. There's no design as far as I know.
Well, I think they might put that
Oh,
into
there
game
no best
direction.
audio design. Yeah, but I
Mm.
don't think it should because game direction and design are two different things. And I think you're right. I think that is what they're doing, but they are different things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Arguably,
the whole genre
Balatro
thing.
would have won best design, something like that, right?
Yeah, you'd imagine so. It can be difficult with the genres. Definitely, like they're doing racing and sports together these days.
Yeah, and they're already most of the way there. They have best narrative. They're most
Mm.
of the way there. But just the idea that best strategy, whatever. Like there wasn't enough strategy games really to be
They
best
did
family
best.
game.
They did best action. Did they do best adventure, or did they leave that
I
out?
believe there is an adventure. Best action adventure. Best action adventure. There is no seems like there is no best adventure, which seems impossible, right? Like how is that? Those are different
So
things.
how does Wukong beat Astrobot in best action and best adventure, but not overall?
Well, it didn't because there's best action and there's best action adventure. Astrobot won action adventure. But I would argue that Wukong is more of an action adventure than Astrobot is. And it's not even nominated.
Yeah, the whole point is it's literally Journey to the West. So that's one of the
Which is
most
an
that's
adventure.
the most
It
famous
is like
Chinese adventure.
it is an adventure. And Astrobot arguably is not. It is level based. So
Yeah.
I mean you could call anything an adventure if you go from one place to another, right? So but the nominees for action adventure are Astrobot, which won, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, sure. Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Uh is Silent Hill 2 something that screams action adventure, even though by
No,
definition it
that would
kind of
be
is?
straight up. Also, in any sort of, isn't that just straight up horror?
Right.
Like
And
that,
there is no horror category, for example. Right. So like where do we draw the line between the technical aspects and the genres?
I
There's been
think
plenty of
action
horror
adventure
games.
is where they're just trying to put in stuff that didn't get nominated.
I got to make sure there is no horror. Okay, there is no horror. I wanted to make sure.
Because then
But
it would just be Silent Hill,
yeah,
you know.
so I'm kind of the mind that you remove the genre ones and then add more of the technical aspects of it. Like get
If you
granular.
did best action in a game, then it'd be purely combat. Like,
Yes,
what
best
is the most
combat.
evolved?
That I feel like that would be a decent category.
Yeah,
Or best action and then end the category. No, not best action game, best action.
yeah.
Because that
What
is
did
something
you
that someone
play?
crafted.
Yeah. For example, when Final Fantasy 16 came out and had these epic boss fights, that might have won if there's like just best action, and we're talking about actually the literal action in the game, the
Yes.
crazy set pieces. That's what we're about. It's like,
And that's worth
be
celebrating.
more specific.
I
Yeah.
think, right? That's the thing that game did well. It did better than everybody else. Why not give it an award?
Yeah.
I don't know. Uh, To me, it's just weird saying like, and especially with games being really hard to define from a genre standpoint nowadays. Anyway,
Mhm.
what's an RPG anymore? Someone
Ugh.
tell me what it is because everything's an RPG.
Yeah.
Do you level up? It's an
Uh,
RPG.
yeah. Also, I just thought of a new category for the awards: most addictive game.
Yeah, Balatro probably would win that. I've never
Yeah,
played
right.
it, but
Isn't
that,
what's one of those games you just play and like you can't put it down?
yeah. So I find that strange, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Before we get to game of the year, which I don't really have too much to say about it, but I do want to talk about it. I one more time want to talk about how much of a show like it how good this was. Like they addressed all the concerns, like the awards for the most part, the speeches, the ones that did get speeches, they weren't cut short. It didn't feel like it anyway. It doesn't feel like they were rushed off.
Not a single one was cut short. Now I know
Yes.
some of them deliberately did try and make their speeches shorter,
Yes.
but well, we know Christopher Judge going for 9 minutes. That didn't help. That probably he might have single handedly ruined that
Yeah.
award show.
Yeah, that was rough.
But in general, folks either kept their speeches about 60 seconds, and there's never a thing of like trying to rush them off stage or give it a moment. And
Yep.
I thought the speeches were good.
They addressed the concerns of the industry in terms of layoffs and stuff like that. They addressed that.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was cool, and he even acknowledged kind of his lack of doing so in the previous years. Like I've had a hard time finding a way to implement that particular topic into this show, and he found a way to do it. Like to me, that's kind of cool. I People give a lot of crap to Jeff Keighley for being like salesperson 101, but the man genuinely loves this stuff. He started as a game journalist, like a normal, honest to God, like I'm going to write game journalism. And that's how he started. Like he loves this crap. This isn't just him wanting to make as much money as possible. He does want to make as much money as possible. Arguably, who doesn't? But I do want to give him some credit for being the guy um, that started and worked his way up because he
Because if
loved it.
he didn't do it, who would have actually tried to do something so preposterous?
I don't know. I don't know. You getting at something with that, or you?
No, no, he was going through those bad end of years with Spike, and they
Oh
were
yeah, yeah, yeah.
miserable. And he was
Oh,
still sticking them out. And they brought on Joel McHale, who did Joel McHale's bit of just
being
slagging
Joe
off
McHale,
things,
yeah.
and then it just crushed poor Jeff Spears. Like, but I love video games, and Joe's like, whatever. This thing, it's just been like dismissive and himself
Do you?
because that's what they brought him on for.
He. It was even before that. He had like a Spike TV show. It was like game charge,
Bonus rounds, he had
bonus.
that or
I don't
something.
even. Well, that was game trailers. There was a
Yeah,
so which turned into game trailers TV. We're getting lost here, but either way, Jeff Keighley, like I'm gonna give him some credit. He puts on a heck of a show. He does care about this stuff. I'm sure like he's got his demons just like everybody else, but let's credit where it's due. And I really
yeah, I
enjoyed
agree.
this show this year. It did not feel forced. I did not get blasted with Mountain Dew and Doritos or any of that stuff. Like the ads that were there were game relevant stuff, and they didn't offend me in any way. Well done. Like
Yeah,
if it is like this every year, I will be happy.
I can't. I think this might be their best show.
I think so too. Uh, and that leaves us with the game of the year and Astrobot. I did not expect to take it, but it
And
did. Astrobot is your
speaking of
game of the year.
addressing, speaking of addressing issues in the industry, they allowed the guy from Larian to speak for 3 minutes.
About it, right? Like he went off. Like he was out for blood. That was fun. Like that was cool watching him do that.
Yeah, as in Jeff was like, "Well, I can't speak about it." It's like, how about the guy who won Game of the Year last year? Let him do it.
Yeah, let
And I
him do
love
it.
the thing of if you feel like your speech is short, just know you can come back next year and be give 3 minutes.
Yeah. Although Astrobot did get the yes, that was Sven Vicky. I don't remember. I don't know how to say his name, but Sven from Larian Studios said that to present Game of the Year, and he talked about the issues plaguing the industry, and that was refreshing to have him do that. He had that platform to do that, and then he presented Astrobot as the Game of the Year. Um,
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. As far as I'm concerned, that's an upset. I did not expect that to happen, but it seems like the Game Awards often has an upset.
Yeah, we predicted what Elden Ring or Balatro.
Those were my
Or
two
we,
picks. Yeah, I think that
we,
was
I
your
think everyone thought Elden Ring won nothing.
Elden Ring won nothing. Screw Elden Ring.
Has been.
Yeah, forget that game. And this is actually a good opportunity. I'm going to bring up a comment. I'm going to read your name, the person that posted the comment. If you don't want me to do that moving forward, let me know. But it's publicly available to read, so I can't imagine you're going to be too offended by it. This is from Jordan Grant 92. If XYZ criteria were different, then ABC game would be eligible. I loved Elden Ring, Shadow of the Air Tree. No hate intended, but that is a terrible argument. That's just moving goalposts. It's an expansion. I'm paraphrasing some of this to speed it up. It's an expansion. You're not only required to purchase the original game, but you have to beat 2 mid to late game bosses to even access it. You continue over with the same character, same file, same save file. You can travel to and from between the two games. Miles Morales is a new game. It's standalone. It's different, so on and forth. That's his argument. And I think that is a good argument.
You start at level 1.
You start at level 1. It's a new character. You cannot transfer between the two things. You don't have to. There's no prerequisite other than purchasing the game.
Also, I didn't know you to beat a couple of bosses.
I didn't know that either, to be fair. But and this is not my argument because I agree. It's DLC. I don't think I implied otherwise last time, but if I did, that's not what I meant. I do think it's DLC. My argument is that I still think it should be eligible to be celebrated based on what it adds, what experience it provides people. If it provides a meaningful enough experience as a new experience in the year of 2024, I don't think it should be disqualified from being celebrated in the year of 2024, in my opinion. These are all arbitrary rules that we have set up. And if we just said or if we change it to experience of the year, no one would care. But it's called game of the year. So I'm of the mind that if that many people, because this is something that people have to write in. This isn't the Game Awards doing this. People wrote it in. My favorite thing of this year that I have played as an interactive experience was Elden Ring Shadow of the Air Tree. That's what I'm going to put on this piece of paper and submit it. I think that's worth considering, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, I don't disagree that it's DLC. I just don't see how that should or would disqualify it. Like, I don't think any other game is more worthy of being considered than that, right? Because it's still a ton of work. It's not like they, like, oh, we just copy and pasted the previous game and added stuff to it. That's not what goes into that sort of thing. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
All right.
actually don't know. Yeah, I could see it not being considered, and I'd be interesting to know what happens going forward if this is a one and done or if more expansions will be considered. I'm starting to lean on it not being allowed because but you gotta beat a couple of bosses.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
And I know how goddamn hard those bosses are. I think one of them might have been like Margaret or something. You might have to
I'm
beat.
trying to think about what I would compare it to because it's such a unique situation. Because
Yeah.
you can't get an expansion for a book and have to read 6 chapters before you can access it. So,
If you
it,
could just went to the main menu and be like, click. Like I think in The Witcher 3, you can just go straight into Blood and Wine, can't you?
yes, no, no, you can't.
It was an
You have to
ask.
travel there.
I know, but it starts you in the world.
It
You were
does,
saying, that,
but
yeah.
you're going to get rocked. Like you have to be a certain level in order to go.
Oh, you can they will level you up.
Oh, do they? All
Yeah, I
right,
think they
so then
bring to
there's a
level
case to be made for
35 or
that.
something.
I'm just wondering, but why prohibit that from being celebrated as an experience as opposed to
I think it might be just the name. Like it's called Game of the Year, not Experience of the Year. If it was called Experience of the Year,
gaming
that's
experience
way
of the
more.
year?
Or gaming experience, sure, but being called game, and we're like, that's not. It is. It's an expansion
Right.
or it's DLC, and we still have these kind of hard walls of
We do.
this is a game, this is an expansion.
I yeah, I'm conflicted about it because there's no scenario where a movie gets like a short film expansion to it, right? And that wouldn't be considered like it would be. So I don't know. It
Yeah, imagine Avengers Endgame before they fight Thanos. Then
yes.
there's an expansion
Yes, there's a
where they
side
go off and do
story.
side missions, and that's like a whole other 2 hour
Right. And
movie.
if it's the best movie of the year, it should be eligible. So yeah, it's weird. But I don't know. Experience of the year sounds stupid. But you're essentially saying by eliminating the possibility for downloadable content to be eligible, you're more or less naming this category interactive retail product of the year.
Yeah. Now, compromise would just be have a category called Best DLC, which they used to have.
They do have it, I think. It's well, no, maybe they don't. Maybe
Yeah,
they don't.
they should have kept that, and then
Yeah,
this wouldn't have been a problem.
I suppose
Then
not,
Elden
but
Ring could have actually won an
and it
award,
would
and
have
people
won
like,
something, yeah.
yeah,
So,
Jeff, you
so
idiot.
but what if that DLC was better than anything else that came out in that year?
That's unlikely.
Arguably, a lot of people think that about Shadow of the Erdtree.
It would
What
be a
would you
sad state of affairs.
would you be miffed if a World of Warcraft expansion was nominated?
Yeah,
I would think that most people would be.
because even Shadow of the Erdtree, can it be better than the base game? The game that kind of was people's first, and it was a full, 60 to 100 hour, even more. And then the
Well,
expansion is kind of a bit like it's a side thing.
yeah.
So it
Well,
can't.
we're not
Yeah.
comparing it to Elden Ring. We're comparing it to everything that came out in 2024.
That would be a bad reflection upon the year,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
maybe, but if it's still worth, in my opinion, it's still worth talking about. These are arbitrary rules, and if I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, that the only reason anyone would care is that it would mean that there is one less slot for something that they would want nominated.
Uh, I did see some folks saying, "Where's Silent Hill 2? Where's Stellar Blade?" Or
Was Stellar
yeah,
Blade nominated for anything?
best action, surely.
Best score in music and best action, yes.
Cool. I hear the music's actually pretty good in it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things that maybe I'll check out someday, but probably not because I don't know. There's a lot of games out these days, and more of them align with my interest than that one. Not to say that that's
I'm just
bad. It's
glad
just
I don't have to be in charge of voting for the Game Awards.
exactly. Well, it's moot anyway because it did not win. Your winner for Game of the Year 2024 at the Game Awards 2024,
And
Astrobot.
your second ever platinum trophy.
It is my second ever platinum trophy. The first being Astro's Playroom.
Astrobot.
Astrobot, well versed in my trophies. He knows what's up. Yeah, so that's cool in my opinion. I thought the speech was interesting because he basically said like, "Hey, platformers don't get the due they deserve, and Nintendo's over there knocking it out of the park with platformers all the time, and no one talks about that. And he didn't say Nintendo. He very explicitly said he didn't say Nintendo, but he said Super Mario Brothers. So somehow he drew the line at the company that made it.
Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's good.
you have no opinion on Astrobot though, right?
No, it's
Did you
personally
play
not for me.
any of the nominees? You
Nope.
didn't, right? So you don't have a
Nope.
dog in this fight.
Nope.
All right.
My game of the year. Well, I'd say Elden Ring because I actually finished it, but I think that Death Stranding might overtake it.
Neither one of those came out in 2024, Adam, so they're disqualified from your game of
But
the year.
my personal best gaming experience.
So then you're touching on my point, and that is a
Yeah.
perfect way to wrap it up. Thank you. Let me get your name again because it sparked a very interesting conversation back on it. And I don't even disagree with what you're saying. I'm just wondering how much it matters. Jordan Grant 92, thank you for the comment. If you'd like your comments read as part of our discussions, please give them, drop them, let me have them. I love them. And all right, like that's the Game Awards. That was exhausting. I'm tired.
Yeah. Maybe going through every announcement was a terrible idea.
It
You
was a
should have
bad
definitely
idea.
skipped the pre-show.
I definitely should have skipped a lot of those, but I didn't want to, just in case. You never know, right? Like, so apologies. Thank you everyone for bearing with us. Last thing here is the outro. Like that's what podcasts do, right? They say like thank you and all that stuff, right? Let's do that. So,
Yeah.
Adam,
What if we don't? What if we don't do that? What if
yeah,
we
what if
just
we
tell
just
everyone,
drop it
oh,
hard and we don't even say
yeah,
bye? We just close it. The
we're
video just ends.
done.
Yeah.
Get out.
Adam, what do you got? What are you up to? What do you got?
I'm currently writing the voiceover for Elden Ring. It's going to be a big one.
Do you have
I've gotten
an
up.
estimate of how long it's going
Jesus,
to be?
no.
Okay, you're not that far yet.
I, based on how the writing is going, how many hours I've covered, I think we could be looking like an hour long episode.
Yeah, that's like prestige. You could be you're eligible for the drama category of an Emmy.
Yeah, I did Resident Evil 4 remake, and that was an hour and 6 minutes,
All right.
which I didn't expect. It was like, damn, I'm pretty close to feature length documentary film. Getting there, getting there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, any idea of when people might see that?
Nope.
All right. Well, that's
February.
youtube.com
But,
slash Adam McDermott for, I think it's youtube.com slash at Adam McDermott, I believe. Is that the actual URL?
it's either
Adam McDermott
slash
on
c
YouTube.
slash. That's it. Yeah. Also, I put out a video a couple days ago going over my PSN trophy collection, all
I
the games I played this past year.
saw that. I haven't watched it
Yeah.
yet, but
That's a
check that
pretty
out.
chill video.
Yeah,
I just want
those
to
are
hear
fun.
someone say horrible things about Psychonauts 2 and Oxenfree 2. That's your place to go.
Wow.
Also say very nice things about Death Stranding.
I like Psychonauts too, so maybe I shouldn't watch that.
Yeah.
And anyway,
And then I'm currently writing a video looking back at 2024, which would be a bit more. It's obviously it's scripted, so it'll be kind of biggest gaming news, some positive world news,
yep,
the brilliant games I used to escape it all, and I'll throw in some personal stuff. Like I did actually spend time living in northern
it's
Thailand in
true.
my ocean village, and I had my meet up in Manchester for a third time. So I'll sprinkle those in along the way.
Oh, that's awesome. Looking forward to that. All right, so for me, and that's Randy Fluharty on YouTube, and I guess Blue Sky. I'm on Blue Sky too, and I don't know what that is. It's like Randy Fluharty dot bsky dot app, I believe, is the thing that how you do that or something like that. I will be concluding my Resident Evil 1 Let's Play that began in the year 2008 this week. That will be concluded. You can see it from beginning to end. And you get to watch as the microphone and video quality changes dramatically from one section to the other. I don't know. Like it's weird because I just did it because for the people that have been waiting for it, and I've gotten comments that said like, "Oh my gosh, I've been waiting 16 years for this." Oh, cool. That's why I'm doing it is to get that out of my life, and I can actually make new videos. I don't know, like more Resident Evil stuff that starts in one year and ends in the same year. which would be
Do
a
you do
radical
any more Let's
concept.
Plays or you do something written?
Well, so I only have time for Let's Plays right now. I wish I could do more written stuff. And also, like the YouTube doesn't like it when you diversify. It really gets upset. So I'm gonna stick with Let's Plays for now until YouTube understands what I am, and then try to do more written material stuff if I have the time. And I also do live streams, so like live plays of stuff, which also goes up on the YouTube. And there's this podcast as well, also on that YouTube.
Mm.
That's youtube.com/Randy Fluharty. I'm sorry that I can't spell that for you, but it's not that hard. I'm sure it'll autocorrect for you. Yeah, check those out. And in 2 weeks' time, so what is that? January 5th, I believe. My calendar is not working. I believe it's January 5th. No, maybe January. That doesn't sound right. No, that second, January 2nd.
We might have to record on like the 30th, the next one.
Yeah, which is fine. So I don't know what we're going to talk about. If you have any suggestions about positive topics to talk about, we'll come up with something. If you don't, but leave a comment if there's something you want to hear us talk about.
I already got it. We discussed our own game of the year.
That makes perfect sense. And as long
It
as
would
they
literally be the last day, after a couple of days, years, and now it's like the year is over.
yes, as long as it was
How was
released in
your
2024 and is not DLC.
No, I'm talking any game
Any game ever.
that you played the past 12 months.
Did I play? I played the first Resident Evil. That would be my game of the year.
Cool, we can talk about that.
Yeah, we could. We still need a topic for Resident Evil. It needs its own topic. But anyway. Yeah, so thank you everybody again. Comments, like that's the big thing for me because I like reading those. And you'll like and subscribe if you feel like it. The podcast is on your platform of choice, probably, unless it's Apple. And we'll see you again on January 2nd. I actually wrote January 2nd in the notes and I just neglected to read it. So there you go. I'm going to cue the music if I haven't already. And we're going to head on out here. Thank you so much, Adam McDermott, for bearing with me through this marathon of Game Awards.
It felt like watching the show all over again.
It did.
Great.
It did. And just like the Game Awards, we glossed over the awards. And yeah, so see you next year for the Game Awards. See you in 2 weeks. We're Health Bar half full. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.